All right, how am I sounding now? Thank you, Elo Wazzle, for pointing that out. Let me know in chat if you can hear me. Hey, fantastic. Thank you very much for the heads up there. I could have been doing an intro for far too long if you weren't both here at the start. So, I'm already regretting my life choices, but I don't have time to complain about them because I've given myself a self-imposed 2-hour deadline to go through everything. So let's get into it. If you have any questions about things that I've skipped past, then do just chuck them in the chat. I will get to them as I can, and we're just going to whiz through and see how much we can get through in 2 hours. So, Oath a moment, the faction rule. This is the one they're gonna keep. Obviously, previewed, made a splash when it came out because they said that they were going to lower the amount of rerolls in the game, and you're going to reroll your entire army is going to reroll against a single unit hits and wounds. That is going to be good. There are some things that are definitely going to benefit from that. We'll get to. I've given this a cursory look through. Space Marine chapters. This is just the breakdown, basically stopping you from running Marnius Calgar with Vulcan Heston. Makes sense there. Detachment rules. Combat doctrines. You get 3 of them. Pick 1 per turn. You can only pick each one once. You've got Dev Doctrine, shoot and advance. Attack Doctrine, shoot and charge in a turn which you fell back. And Assault Doctrine, you can charge in a turn advanced. Yes, Ela Wazzle. Fewer rerolls unless you're Space Marines. I have said this before, and I won't go into depth with it. I think what that really translates to is you only get rerolls where they want you to get rerolls most of the time. Space Marines are obviously the you guys are saving my ass. I'm glad someone's on the ball because it's definitely not me. Perfect. Just testing to see if we were all paying attention, and some of you are. Wazzle says the aura rerolls are definitely turned down. That is true. That is true. I think rerolls are going to be where they want them to be, with the exception of Space Marines. So, with some outliers, hopefully we'll be in a less killy game. But there's a few things that they need to sort with Space Marines, that's for sure. So, stratagems. First one, only in death does duty end 2 CP. It is fight on death. This is the fairly standard. You pick it after the target's been selected, so you don't get to wait to see how many models die. But it is obviously super solid, lets you trade back a unit for 2 CP or less. There are some rules coming up for that one. Yeah, solid. I believe the Tyranid version of that is a fight on a 4+. So interesting that Marines just get a better version. I'd have to double check. Maybe the fight on death one for Tyranids is 1 CP. But great strat. Armor of Contempt. When a unit is targeted in the shooting or the fight phase. So interesting, if you get overwatched in your own movement phase, you can't use this to lower the AP of the attacks, but you put it on one of your units and worsen the AP by 1. This is going to be an absolute staple. We've seen less AP, especially if people are running big Terminator Death Stars, probably just singular. I'm assuming the points have gone up quite a bit. But if you're in cover and they have AP2, slam a CP, you're still making 2 up armor saves. We thought that was going with 9th edition. It hasn't. It hasn't at all. We've still got exactly the same, but hopefully they're pointed to account for that. Honor the chapter. Fight phase. One Adeptus Astartes unit from your army. So unlike NIDS, a lot of the NIDS you had to kind of call your shot ahead of time. This is just when you're fighting. Melee weapons in that unit have the lance ability, and if you're in the assault doctrine, get +1 AP as well. That's pretty solid. That's incredibly solid, actually. It's +1 to wound, +1 AP, assuming you're in the assault doctrine. Only for a CP. That's pretty good. Chris says, if the bodyguard unit dies while fighting on death and then the character dies after becoming its own unit, does the character also fight on death? This is a great question that I think technically it wouldn't. But let's just assume that's coming in the day 1 FAQ, because that seems like the sort of silliness that needs sorting. Because you're absolutely correct, it does become its own unit. Unless there's anything in the the phrasing there that says after. No, because the unit would resolve its attacks. I think it literally just wouldn't get to fight on death. Um, interesting, interesting. We'll have to see how that one pops up. Adaptive strategy, your command phase. So this is a call your shot. Select the dev, tac, or assault doctrine until the start of your next command phase. That combat doctrine is active for that unit instead of any other doctrine that is active for the army, even if you've already doubled up. Great. You just get to put yourself a buff on that you want for 1 CP, and that is always going to be valuable. Basically, that's 1 CP advance and charge, unless there's some broken interactions down the line that I haven't seen yet. So 1 CP advantage and charge is just a great strat to have in your back pocket. Can't argue with it at all. Storm of Fire. Your shooting phase, pick 1 unit from your army. Till the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped have ignores cover, and if your unit's under the effects of the Devastator Doctrine, improve the AP characteristic of such weapons by 1 as well. That could be very good, because you're comboing that with Dev Doctrine every time. I feel like you're not. It's 1 CP to ignore cover is not great, but 1 CP to ignore cover and get AP1, that is a pretty potent combo. And if Marines do anything, they do weight of fire pretty well. So we'll have to see if they still do that. I'll be honest, I've mostly just looked at the unit rules. I haven't looked at the weapons because I haven't had time. So that Storm of Fire is going to be one to keep our eye on, I think. Squad tactics. When your opponent's movement phase, just after a unit ends a normal advance or fallback move within 9, make a normal move of up to D6 or 6 inches if you're in the tac doctrine. You can't fall back out of combat using that. Great. Okay, cool. So they move towards you, and then you move backwards, or you move behind terrain. D6. So you're effectively making their charge a 3d6 instead of a 2d6 from where they're expecting you to be. Oh, that's really good for 1 CP. These are all really good. This is like such a good toolbox. Fight on death is great. Defensive strat, just to give you better armor, is great. +1 to wound and AP is great. +1 AP and ignore cover in the shooting phase. You've got a melee and a shooting phase strat. Adaptive strategy to give you advance and charge. Squad tactics to to get the hell out of there. Interesting. There's going to be some. Yeah, they're all pretty well pointed as well. 1 CP for all of those, apart from only in death as duty end. Or move to screen. Yeah, no, that's a great shout. Absolutely, you can chuck something forwards that was up next to a unit and use that to screen the deadly unit that you want to charge in their phase. Great shout. All right, strats seem very good. The NID strats were quite good, but I feel like these are a little better already. The fight on death is the one that really jumps out at me. Enhancements, we still haven't seen how much these are going to cost, so they could be very variable, but you've got Artificer Armor, 2-up save and a 5-up Feel No Pain. That's been a staple for years. I don't see myself taking it unless you have... I guess it depends how much precision is in the meta. If precision's a really key ability, we're probably going to see that more, because you can put it on something like an Apothecary or a Librarian that might not have an inbuilt... oh no, it doesn't give it an inbuilt, it gives a Feel No Pain. That's better. Okay, interesting. I guess if we see a lot of precision, that'll be valuable. On a Remnant, +1 to attack and strength of the bearer's melee weapons, or if you're an assault doctrine, +2 to those. Solid. I don't know how much you're going to want a beat stick character with Marines. It kind of feels like beat stick characters were more a thing you wanted to do back in 8th, really, when you could really just juice up a captain, give them the Thunder Hammer, rerolls on themselves. We'll see, because there might be some good combinations that enables, especially if you're putting it on a squad that you're going to miss out up the board because you're going to spend a CP on them, put them in a assault doctrine so they can advance and charge. Maybe if you put them with some Van Vets and a Thunder Hammer captain or something, that could be a good one. Add up to the Codex, captain only. Chris says, I hope the Transvaal strat's been good in the index stays because the chaff strats are annoying. Yeah, absolutely. Space Marines, I guess, are the biggest example of this, because you'd have your base rulebook strats, which you still have. You'd have your Codex strats. You'd have whichever chapter book strats as well, it did get a little bit silly, and a lot of them were useless. Or you like reroll hits and wounds against Alpha Legion because that's an army that people play. But yeah, add up to the Codex. Captain only, okay. Start the command phase. Instead of selecting a combat doctrine, you can select the attack doctrine. It is active for that unit only, even if you've already selected that doctrine to be active. Okay, interesting. So this you forgo getting a buff on your entire army to put them back into attack doctrine. So that's advance and shoot. Maybe we'll see more synergy with that down the line, because that doesn't necessarily feel super valuable, especially when you've got a strat to do that already. And you can't stack that with the rest of your army having a doctrine. Maybe it's good because you want one unit to have a buff 3 turns, and then the rest of your army to have a buff, 3 turns as well. We'll see. Bolted Discipline. Adeptus Astartes model only. Excellent. I won't be putting that on any of my knights. When the bearer is leading a unit, ranged weapons have sustained hits 1. In addition, while the bearer's unit is under Dev Doctrine, it gets crit hits on a 5+. That's not good. That's a lot of efficiency. So you can stack it with the Storm of Fire to get extra pip of AP. I guess it depends if we've got any way to hand out any other buffs. Sustained hits is very nice. If you can give like precision hits or lethal hits, that might be very nice. This feels like the winner here. This is, I think, the weakest in my eyes. The Artificer armor. Honor of Eminent is... Actually, no. Honor of Eminent's weakest. Artificer armor's second weakest. Add up to the Codex is... I don't necessarily see the use for it yet, but I haven't really looked at the data sheets in depth. And yeah, no, Chris says it seems abusable. It absolutely does seem abusable, this Bolted Discipline. I'm sure there's going to be something with a massive rate of fire where sustained hits is just going to make it too good, because it's going to be exploding on 5s. And I played Necron Immortals in 8th edition, and I fully enjoyed exploding on 4s. So 5s is good still. It'll do. Right, I'm going to have to speedrun these. I'm assuming things are pretty much the same across these. So fairly standard stat line, 1 less wound, I think, than I'm expecting to see. But it looks like characters have got squishier across the board. Weapons look very standard to what we see. These are like 8th edition stats on those. Melee weapons... Yeah, okay, these are very standard. So right to battle. Once per battle round, 1 unit from your army with this ability can be targeted by a stratagem for 0 CP. Even if another unit for your army has already been targeted. So this is like the... Obviously we've seen this already, but this is like the Hive Tyrant ability, although theirs is better because it's in a unit within 12. This has to go on a unit. So you're going to put your captain in the squad that wants to be spamming CP. Makes sense to me. We'll find out what that unit is as we go along. And Finest Hour, once per battle, start of the fight phase. So you've got to call your shot. I quite like that. +3 attacks, and they have Dev Wounds. That's just cheeky. Then Relic Shield, +1 wound. That is as we were expecting from what we've seen so far. And they can go in Blade God Vets. So Blade God Vets, I guess, or Stern Guard, because Stern Guard have looked pretty solid from the reveals we've seen so far. Hellblasters, maybe. It'll be interesting to see what they've done with those. Okay, pretty good. Captain, T6, extra wound. Very standard here. Boltstorm Gauntlet has... Oh, that's an interesting weapon. I wonder if that's the same as the Aggressors. Because 3-shot strength for AP11 damage, that's not bad. And they'd have 2 of them. Okay, interesting. Keeps the relic ability where you'd get extra attacks with them from the data sheet we got in 9th. That's quite cute. Makes having 2 weapons actually worthwhile. And it's got half damage. Cool. It's an OC1 character, and it wants to buff the unit, and it can't be... You can't allocate attacks to it. I think that this is one of those that looks good on the face of it, but you just end up not using it at all because it's a buff that's really meaningless because it's going to be in a squad. This one with Artificer armor seems chunky. Yeah, it absolutely does seem chunky, but I don't really see what he's achieving. He's going to be making... What's the best loadout here? Probably the Power Fist and the Relic Blade. So you're getting 7 attacks, AP 2 damage, Twin Link for rerolls. Oh, okay. Thanks, Ela Wallace. Twin Link Bolters, that's interesting. Strength 4 rerolling wounds, that could be quite nice. Looking forward to seeing them. We'll get there in an hour, assuming that we can just whiz through these. And this is going to go in the... Okay, so this makes sense. It can go in all the Gravis units, Aggressor, Eradicator, and Heavy Intercessor squads. Do I want him in any of those? I guess he's an aggressor. He's got to go in the aggressors. Or you could be like a bodyguard for the Eradicators. Yeah, okay. Maybe he's some beef for the Eradicators, but less about this refusal to yield and more about the fact he can put out 7... Or you could even go the Power Weapon and the Relic Blade and just go 8 attacks at Strength 5, AP 2 damage. Turns them into a bit of a skirmishing squad. It is far too early in the stream to be losing my ability to talk. Cool. Phobos. They've got a precision bolt rifle. Very nice. Always fun with those. I missed the Raven Guard one that I never took, but looked cool on paper. Eradicators are interesting. We'll get there. Sorry, Gaw'dam. I think it's actually good that I'm doing this on my own, because I can whiz through way more quickly than having to ask someone's opinion. And I really want to get this done in 2 hours, so we'll see how we get on. So, Rise of Battle again. This just seems to be the standard. What a great rule. Like, we've seen this on Tyranids already. I'm assuming we're going to see it on every main faction. And it kind of makes the starting on 0 CP, gaining 1 a turn, feel a lot less punishing. So that's quite nice. I enjoy that. It's a more... I like it more. It's a more fun form of CP generation, effectively. Instead of just going, oh, you know, I've got CP to do whatever I want on a dice roll, you can say, this squad is going to do something for me. You call your shot, and you get extra CP on that unit. And being able to double up on stratagems is absolutely fantastic. Double Heroic Intervention, double Overwatch. I think that one needs FAQing because of the verbiage on it. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. Master of Deceit. After both players have deployed and determined who has the first turn. Oh, why? Why have they given Nids a shit version of this? For fuck's sake. Cool. So they've literally written all the rules at the same time, and we are already seeing that they cannot consistently write the same rules between the indexes. Sort your shit out, Games Workshop. Like, this is the perfect time to standardize. You're writing it all at the same time. Have someone copyright and just go through and be like, these two are different. Which do you want me to have? All right, cool. So you can select up to 3 Phobos, Scout, or Sniper Scout units. Okay, and redeploy the units. Interesting that the Scout and the Sniper Scouts are different. Redeploy them. They can go into Strat Reserve, even if you've already got stuff in Strat Reserve. You probably don't want to use this to overload Strat Reserve, but I think it's quite nice to have. I assume you can attach to... Oh yeah, so he can attach to some Phobos squads and he could redeploy himself. Cool. In melee, he is terrible. Why would you have just a strength 4 AP 01 damage knife? Like, come on, man. Like, get a grip. This is bad. Why? What is appealing about this? You don't have to make it good, but you have to make it fun. Like 412 or 402. Just give it something spicy. What are we saying in chat? Might make snipers worthwhile because if they die early, you lose a lot of CP. Yeah, absolutely. We are seeing a lot of attached characters and a lot of low wound characters as well. Existence. It's not that nobody's brave enough to tackle the monster. The people in the content team are pretty much across the board going to an 8-man's teams event, which I didn't sign up to at the time, and I'm kind of glad I didn't now, because playing 9th edition kind of feels like it's a bit of a waste of time. But they're going to have a great time. They're going to go and smash beers and smash opponents. The classic. Captain in Terminator armor. Seen this chap already. Rerolling charges. It's really valuable. I mean, he's on a slow unit. Going to be able to deep strike. Going to be able to rapid ingress. Really like that here. anyone who watched my stream on Monday with Tom can see that we massively value the grenades keyword. So nice to see that he has a war gear that lets him get the grenade keyword there. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, team events are fantastic. Really enjoy them. I did my second. I did my second with Galmaris and a couple of the lads. We talked about it on one of the podcasts. Not this week just gone, but the one before. Had a great time. Went 4-1, played Team England in the 5th round. Got battered, but was going well up till there. Captain, I do love the Ultramarines helm crest, the really Greco-Roman inspired setting. Although I don't know if the Romans had fancy space guns. I didn't even realize he was holding a grab. He's got finest hour, again, just a bit of a beat stick in melee. Does he have any weapons that are worth putting that on? Twin lightning claws could be cool. Just having inbuilt reroll wounds with dev wounds. That's pretty solid. I don't know if that's going to be good enough here because it's only 1 damage. The good stuff's going to have 2 damage. Yeah, relic weapon maybe. I really like the power fist actually. That now that power fist doesn't seem to be a -1 to hit, it's quite a valuable weapon to be taking there. Oh, cool! You can take Inferno pistols on non-Blood Angels units. That's cute. It's been a long time since that's been. I think that's never been a thing. Oh, D3 damage on the Inferno pistol. Kept at 6-inch range though. Don't love that. So that is a little Diddy pistol. I wonder if you can take like double Inferno pistols on Van Vets. That'd be quite fun. And you just have like a Suicide Squad jump out. Makes the hammer less worth it. It does. But I'll be honest, Chris, I don't think the Thunder Hammer is particularly good. Obviously, it's great in a theoretical world where you're hitting your Oath of Moment unit because you're rerolling hits and wounds, so the worst ballistic weapon skill doesn't matter. The dev wounds are very valuable there. But realistically, I think you're probably going to want to shoot things with your Oath of Moment and then, kind of mop up the rest of the time. You can join Assault Squad, Command Squad, Tac Squad, Van Vets. I don't think we've seen anyone able to join a... God, it's been so long since I played Space Marines. What's the big chunky unit that moves ridiculously slowly and has drills? It'll come to me. But I don't think we've seen anyone who can join the big baby carrier models. Captain with jump pack, conspicuously missing a picture there. Very interesting. Centurions. Ah, yes, Chris and Ilowasal, you are both, and Existence, you're all heroes of the Imperium. Fantastic. So Captain with jump pack is +1 to strength of the melee weapons equipped by the models in their unit. That's very nice. I spent a lot of time in 9th edition trying to find a way to give Van Vets with lightning claws +1 strength. If this is a way to do it, and they're already at strength 5, pushing them up to strength 6, that could be really nice. Other than that, very standard there. Joins assault squads and Van Vets with jump packs. Very nice. You love to see it. Captain on bike. Glad this is still here. I'm probably never going to use one. It's an old as fuck model, but it's nice they're not getting rid of rules there. Ranged weapons get assault. Interesting. Who can he join? Bike squad and outrider squad. Okay, so it's mostly going to be on bolt weapons. That's less exciting. If he could join like a big squad of the trikes, the attack bikes, that'd be interesting. I guess you can put 1 in the squad, or maybe it's 2. We'll see as we get along. But that's interesting. Like that's if there's stuff that you can stack on top of that, just being able to move really fast and shoot an angle is valuable, especially because the 2 good armies seem to be Space Marines and Eldar. So being able to just yeet forwards like 20 inches if they keep their flat 6 advance, then they're going to be laughing. They're going to be absolutely hosing down some wimpy Eldar. Right, so we've done all the captains there. Cool. Yeah, makes sense. It feels odd that they have so many of them. Range weapons get assault is such a way. Yeah. We've talked about this, Galmaris, a couple of times, but yeah, the weird interaction with the wording on you can advance and do actions if you have an assault weapon is very funny. much better on the Hive Tyrant, who lets you just have an aura of 6-inch advance and shoot. So we'll we'll see when that gets fixed. Hopefully day one. Primaris Lieutenant. So he's also a leader. Oath of Moment, Storm Shield. Okay, so his shield gives him an invuln because he hasn't got an inbuilt one. That's fine. Weapons fairly standard. Target priority, fullback, shoot and charge. Shoot, charge, and fullback. That's great. That's all of the buffs. That is all of the buffs, which is what you want to have. It always feels really bad, or not bad, but like it was really valuable being able to fall back and charge, or fall back and shoot, depending which buff you needed, what sort of army you're playing. So just having it rolled into one is just, it's nice. It's really nice to have, especially if we are actually getting a less lethal edition where there's going to be a bit more sloggy in the middle. And he gives units lethal hits. That could be interesting. Again, if we're seeing some volume of fire. Assault Intercessors, Blade Guard, Hellblasters, Inferno Squads, Intercessors, and Veterans. It's very funny that you can join Inferno Squads because they auto-hit. There's no sixes to... there's no sixes to hit. They're firing flamers. I guess it'd be weird if he couldn't lead them and you get a punch stuff in the face in melee. Cool. Captain or Chapter Master model. Okay, yeah, so you can attach it. You can have a second leader in a squad. That's nice. I guess we might see some interesting Death Stars then from that. He didn't have any other interesting keywords, did he? No, nothing on there. Reaver Armor. Scout 6 inches. I'm not in love with a scout move. I really like forward deploy, but scout, it's not less good. Okay, so tactical precision. That's the rule that all the lieutenants get. Increase the range of that unit's terror troops by 3 inches. Cool. So I'm assuming this guy only goes in Reavers then. He is in Reaver Armor. He has precision on all his attacks, and none of his attacks have any AP. So, hot take, that's going to be dog shit. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe when you put him in Reavers, he supercharges them and they give him some good rules. I'm not convinced. Yeah, Reaver squads. You can also put captains in there. Very nice. That feels like a worthwhile use of points. Phobos, Armor Lieutenant. Much cooler. He gets shoot and fade. After you shoot, if you're not in engagement range, you can make a normal move up to D6. That's just nice to have. This can infiltrate and scout. Interesting. I wonder if you can infiltrate and then scout, or if you have to pick which of the two. I assume you can just make a scout move after you've infiltrated. That seems like an odd combination to have. Maybe it's a case of he joins a squad that only has one of the keywords. Space Marines have so many leaders. Yes, they do. And that is why I'm going through it at a rate of knots, because it's 8:30. 30 minutes of my time has gone, and we're still on, we're on the second set of leaders. So, yeah, he's got, again, nothing of worth. These weapons are so disappointing. Just give them some AP. Like, that's all they need. All models in the unit need to have both. Yeah, I think so, Chris. I think all the units, all the models need to have. So you basically, whichever squad you put him in, either scout moves or infiltrates. Reavers we've seen have scout. I assume the other two have infiltrate. That makes sense to me. Let's get to it. Lieutenant. He's just the basic one. Okay, same rule as the Primaris one. Same wounds. It's nice to see that they've standardized that across the board. More weapon options, can still take a storm shield, and he can go in. Okay, so he can just go in the non-Primaris units. That's fine. Reavers are low-key good. Okay, I'm interested to see them. We'll see how that goes. Neat. We fucking smashed those in about 5 minutes. Librarians, then. So we've seen these already. So the rule I think that they get is the Feel No Pain 4+ against psychic attacks. That doesn't necessarily feel great. I wish it was a 4-up against mortal wounds. Well, I don't, because I'm going to be playing Eldar, and I'm going to be playing into Space Marines in the league. So I'm glad it's not that, but it would be a lot better if it was a Feel No Pain against mortal wounds. It makes more thematic sense that it's capped to psychic attacks, but that's going to be so feast or famine, whereas just having it as like a 5-up against mortal wounds would have been pretty valuable to have. Metal Fortress, 4-up Invuln. That's really nice. Let's just have a look here. Just the same smite that we've had before, and then the force weapon, just the same as we've seen before there. Nothing too exciting. but it has... Okay, so this can join all of the Tacticus squads, as they call them, the 2-wound infantry, stuff that's in Primaris armor. Okay, so he can join Assault Ints, Desolation Squad, Hellblaster, Infernus, Intercessors, Sternguard. So immediately I'm looking at that and going, Sternguard feels like they jump out because you're giving a 4-up invuln to something that's quite valuable. Other than that, Hellblasters maybe the same. Desolation Squad. I forgot about them. I hope they're bad. If you could just tell me they're bad in chat, it doesn't have to be true. Just tell me they're bad, and then I'll cry later on. Phobos armor. They've got models in that unit have the stealth ability and cannot be targeted unless the attacking model is within 12. That's very cool. So the Phobos armor protects a backfield unit, eliminators and cursed infiltration. So he goes with eliminators. That makes sense to me. Looks like you put them in a squad of eliminators, they get to sit back, shoot. You can't shoot them back unless you get within 12 inches. That's quite cute. I really like that, actually. That's a very fun ability. Hope is the opiate of the weak. Ah, yes. Excellent. Well, I was born in Hartlepool, and there's plenty of opiates there, so... Chris says, they're bad. Spoiler, they're not, and the Boltstorm enhancement could make them broken again. You've even put the bracket the wrong way around, so it looks like you're doing a sad face. Right, what page are we on? We're on page 33. Fuck, we're only on page 33. So, yeah, sustained hits 1 on a 5+ in Dev Doctrine. You can put them in Dev Doctrine for a CP. You can then slam the other strat for another CP to give them AP. All right, cool. I haven't even seen the data sheet properly yet, but yeah, that's some combinations you can do there. Normal Librarian, this is just the same as the Primaris one, a little bit more options in terms of the shooting. I quite like that you can stack a ranged weapon on a psychic character and shoot both. Obviously, it makes sense. We've gone from an edition where you could do that because you went psychic then shooting, but it just feels like maybe you're getting a bit more bang for your buck out of your psychic characters than you do from some other characters. So he can just go in Assault Squad, Command Squad, Attack Squad, Van Vets. Very nice. Oh, no jump back Librarian. I have one of those. I'm pretty sure they still exist. Okay, never mind. I guess even with 252 pages, some things had to make the cut. Primaris Chaplain, they get Litany of Hate +1 to wound. All right, that is a step up from reroll all hits that they had before. Both Primaris Libbies look good. Yeah, this does look good. Once per battle, select a unit that is battle shocked within 12. No longer battle shocked. That's very cool. And it's at the start of a phase as well. So you could do this in the command phase, right? No, because you take the test, then you score at the end of the phase. But you could do it if you need to use some strats on them, or if you're contesting your opponent's objective, or just, generally. Okay, that's really nice. And it's an 18-inch range, so it's not locked to your own unit. That's nice. Crucis Arcanum, 5 attack, strength 6 AP, 1/2 damage. That's a little bit of a bummer. I did enjoy the Slaplin from last edition. I'm saying that as if I played Marines at all last edition. I didn't. I thought of lots of lists for them and then just never put them on the tabletop because I was playing fun stuff instead. Yeah, cool. Looks solid. Ella Wazzle says, good incentive to throw a variety of characters depending on how you want to play. Points dependent, of course. Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping that we see quite cheap characters. The way it feels is it's like the Aspect Warriors from 9th edition Eldar. So, you've got an Aspect Warrior with an upgraded character. So maybe that's what these are going to be, and they're not going to be anywhere near as many points. That'd be cool. We will see. They can go in all the usual Primaris squads. See, now that I'm thinking about them, now that I'm thinking about the bloody Desolation Marines, I'm looking for them, and you can't go in the Desolation Marines. I mean, you don't care because they're not a melee unit, so maybe that's why. But Sternguard, they're not really a melee unit either. Hellblasters, they're not a melee unit. Interesting. Chaplain and Terminator armor. One of the coolest models. I like this one, but I really like the older version, the metal. I guess it'll be resin now. But the Terminator Chaplain, who's basically the same without all the skulls and his guns the other way around. Really love that model. I'll have to see if I can dig him out. So he's got +1 to wound and a 4-up feel no pain against mortal. Okay, this guy is cracked out of his goddamn mind. 4-up feel no pain against mortal wounds is absolutely insane, because we are going to see, unless they change devastating wounds, we are going to see some real bullshit coming up in 3 weeks' time. So hopefully they fix devastating wounds and they just change it to like do a mortal wound in addition to the normal damage on a 6 instead of changing it all to mortal wounds. But if they don't, cool, you've got a 4-up against the mortal wounds. That's very nice. You can join. Oh, Relic Terminator's still in. I thought they were getting squatted. Cool, big fan of that. I love the Relic Terminator models. I wonder if they still have the extra movement. I assume not, but that was the draw of them. 10-man Turby Brick, yeah, absolutely. Like, that is something that you really want to be doubling down on. Chappie on bike. Doesn't say Primaris Chappie on bike. I guess you could convert up a non-Primaris one. They've got Catechism of Fire. Okay, cool. I like that they're putting the litanies on the data sheets, similar to the way that the librarians get the spells, the psychic powers. Select one enemy unit within 12 invisible in the shooting phase. Devastating wounds. Okay. I mean, he's only going to go in bikes, right? Bikes and Outriders. So he gives dev wounds. That's interesting. This is going to be... No, I'm going to say really good. This is going to be a fun gimmick if you can put it in a squad that has real weight of fire. Outriders... I guess bike squads are probably more weight of fire from memory, because you can keep the bolt guns on the bike and then get extra guns as well. But we'll have to have a look at those. I think you can have bigger bike squads as well, so that might be one to go for. Cool. Chaplain. Okay, so this is just the same as the Primaris one, but with a little bit more options. You can take a Power Fist on him, so you can actually get some melee. That's really nice. Interesting, you still hit on a 2, but you lose an attack. You normally hit on a 2 with a Power Fist. I guess they're trying to give you trade-off options. I do like that there are trade-off options. That is a lot of fun. Makes it feel like there's, especially with the way stats have been stretched, I do like that. Chris says, I think we'll need to wait for a bike detachment to make them good. Oh, Chris, you've ruined my dreams. It's a good job I don't like bikes. Maybe if we see a Ravenwing detachment on Monday. Not that we know there's anything coming on Monday. Yeah, he can just leave the normal stuff there. Chappie with jump pack. Interesting, that's gone as well. I've definitely got a Chappie with a jump pack. Okay, so he's got exhaustion of rage. Definitely said that wrong. It's funny, you watch streamers and you're like, ha, fool, say the words more gooder, and then you come to say exhaustion of rage and you're like, turns out I can't say that. So this is a 4 to 5 do D3 mortal wounds and a 6 do 3 mortal wounds. That is so bad. So 50% of the time I do nothing. A third of the time I do D3 mortal wounds, and if I roll a 6, you take 3 mortal wounds. That's so shit. That's really disappointing. Huh. Well. Alright. Cool. Primaris Tech Marine. Only 4 wounds. That is squishy. He's got no invuln as well. Okay. Forge Bolter is the same as I'd expect it to be. It didn't get sustained hits, which is interesting, because it is a heavy bolter, basically. That feels like an oversight. Grav Pistol, Anti-Vehicle 2+. Ooh, Anti-Vehicle 2+. Okay, so they've lost their do extra damage against 3 up saves, but they've got Anti-Vehicle. Okay, that's a cool niche to have. Winning vehicles on a 2-up is wild. Dev squads with Grav coming in on drop pods. Okay, we'll see. Parax 622, that's a good profile. Only hits on 3s for attacks, that's fine. Silver Arm, extra slap. A flat 3 damage slap. That's better than it was last edition, which is funny, given the squatting of stats. He gets lone operative within 3 inches of vehicles. That's nice. You don't have to attach him to a squad. I quite like that. In the command phase, you can heal up to... Okay, so interesting. This is in the command phase. So you heal D3 wounds and +1 to hit. So it's combining both of the datasheet buffs that it had before. And then you get +1 to hit. And yeah, okay. So this is worse than it was before, because you've got to position correctly. Your opponent can't shoot something, you've got to be in range of everything to heal it. If they shoot something that's 4 inches away, you can't heal that model. Chris says, do you give lone operative to a unit you are leading? And Gilmore says, no. I'll take your word for it. Thanks for answering. I don't have to think. Vengeance of the Omnisire. Friendly vehicle modelers within 12 and destroyed until the end of the battle. The attack's characteristics of 7? What the fuck? So he is filled with fucking rage. That's funny because, like, look at him. He's the epitome of the cold and merciless, and you know, the detachment from emotions, and the flesh is weak. But if you kill a vehicle, he gets real fucking mad. That's very fun. I like that. 7 attacks, hitting on 3, 622. That's not better than a captain. I was wondering if you just like do some jank and you take them as melee characters, and then you just like feed a land speeder to your opponents, or yeah, land speed is going to be cheapest, or a rhino, I guess. That's cute. I like that. That's not going to come up, and then it's going to come up, and your opponent's going to go, "What the fuck?" Use Hellblasters to blow up an impulsor. Profit. Someone new in the chat. Soldark, not a name I recognise. Funny you should say that, actually. My friend Craig recommended that I talk about Hellblasters blowing up an impulsor, because the way hazardous work is if you roll ones while you're shooting out of an impulsor's open top, the vehicle takes the mortal wounds, then they come out, and then because the vehicle's shot but they haven't, they get to shoot. And then if they die, they get to shoot again. I think was the data sheet buff. Basically, you shoot on a 3-up, sort of like the old banner. Yeah, that's some jank. I'm assuming they'll fix that. I think that was something that Goonhammer pointed out as well. Let's have a look here. Tech Marine. Tech Marine is exactly the same. Oh, that's a shame. So it's still only the power axe. You can't get him extra attacks on the thunder hammer. That would have been funny. Craig's just messaged me on Facebook to say Soul Dark is me. I know, Craig. I'm in my own way being funny. It's the best sort of joke. It's the one that amuses me and not anyone else. Servitors, they are better. So servitors now hit on 4s instead of 5s natively, and then if they're led by a tech marine, improve the ballistic skill. You can have heavy bolters hitting on 3s from a servitor. I wonder if there's ever going to be a world where that's worth doing. Hold on, you can have heavy bolters hitting on 2s if they stand still. I mean, they're going to immediately fall over. Although 4-up save's not awful. If plasma cannons are cheap, there is some degenerate jank to be had there. 6 tech marines, and oh, you could only take 3 units of servitors. Never mind, but that's quite funny. The being able to hit on 2s with the servitors doesn't really feel right. 6 up in fun as well. That's cute. What else are we looking at here? How many guns can you put in there? Up to 2 models. Okay, so you can only have 2 guns in the squad. That's less exciting. It's the same as it comes in the resin kit that you can buy at the moment. So we've successfully gone through the characters. That's 45 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay, I think we've done those in about 30 minutes. So we're making good headway here. Intercessor Squad. They did show these already. I really like that the bolt rifle has assault and heavy. It makes Space Marines just feel like they're very they can adapt to any situation. They're very much the jack of all trades. That is a valuable skill to have. They've just got 2 shots at each range, which is really nice. You can advance, hit on 3s. You can stand still, hit on 4s. You can hip fire and hit on 4s as well, which kind of feels odd now that assault isn't -1 to hit. Yeah, it's nice. And they've got objective secured, so if you control objective at the end of your command phase and they're in range of it, it remains under your control until your opponent controls it at the start or end of any turn. That is interesting. So if they charge onto it and don't take it off you, that's minimum of 1 intercessor squad seems like a given. Yeah, no, I think that is an absolute fair point. Especially depending on the points. Like, I don't hate these with AP1, 1 damage, those rolls. They're not great. I mean, you're just going to run Stern Guard because we've seen the Stern Guard data sheet already. But yeah, they're not bad. Like, as long as they're not super expensive, I don't feel bad about taking them. That's fine. You can still take them here. You can take the Just standard upgrades that they drip fed out last edition. One can take in the grenade launcher, which gives them a single strength 9 AP2 D3 damage shot. If it's free, I'll take it. If it's not, I absolutely won't. They were OC2, weren't they? Yeah, cool. Cool. So that's quite a nice stat line across the board. T4 sucks, but they're the Space Marines. What else are you going to get? Inferno Squad is the same. They just get OC1 instead. So that's definitely a trade-off there. We've seen these guys already. They get the Strength 5 Flamers. No AP on these Flames feels a bit rough. Like, they're not going to kill much unless you're playing against, like, Nids or something. But they are here to battle shock a unit. Interesting that they can only battle shock one unit. Yet we've seen some rules like the Tyranid one on the Barb Gaunts that lets you slow multiple units. Again, just like standardize your rules, Games Workshop. This was the perfect time. The perfect time. Assault Intercessors back up to OC2. That's quite nice. They've got 4 attacks each, hitting on 3, strength 4, AP 1, 1 damage. It's fine. It's what it was before. Reroll a wound roll of 1 or full rerolls to wound. That's not bad. I don't feel like they make the cut unless they're cheaper than the normal Intercessors somehow. I feel like low quality but high volume is not something that Marines lack, and you don't need to do it in melee. Or if you're doing it in melee, you'd want it on something faster. So I think these seem like an immediate skip to me, but we'll come back to that when I'm wrong in 6 months. Oh, Librarian with Jump Pack. All right, cool. I don't know why it's here. They get Might of Heroes plus 1 AP. Oh, that's such a good buff. That's an offensive buff instead of a defensive buff. I guess same as the Chaplain had an offensive buff instead of a defensive buff with the Jump Pack. Plus 1 AP in the unit. That's dangerous. I wonder if we'll see anything with like a volume of AP2 in melee, because pushing that to AP3 could be really nice, or even AP1 to AP2. That's a big break point. Cool. That's a really, really solid sheet. It can join Assault Squads and Van Vets. Returns with combi weapons. This is the one that we've seen already. You get like conditional rerolls as an aura, which is weird. He's lone operative. It can move. It doesn't know what it wants to do, and I don't know what I want to do with it. So I've talked about it already, and I'm just going to go past it. Again, but why is it? Why is it in the middle of the Intercessors? All right, whatever. Heavy Intercessors. So they move 5. They're T6 because they're Gravis. That's very nice. 3 up save still. 3 wounds is good. OC2. It's less valuable on a more expensive squad, but that's still not bad. They've got heavy bolt rifles, which is, again, assault heavy, sustainable ones. Interesting that the heavy bolter is still assault. That's really nice. This is just a consolidation of all the rules that made them, kind of interesting last edition, having the different bolt weapons there. If you're on an objective mark, you control damage of 1, add 1 to any armor saves. Okay, so they get all this dust. Okay, hold on, we've seen Thousand Suns rubrics, and not rubrics, it was the rubric Marines. They didn't get all this dust. Oh god, Space Marines. That's going to cause some salty Thousand Suns players. Felix says hi. Hi, Felix. Hope you're doing well. All right, cool. I really like this data sheet. This seems valuable. I'm a big fan of this one. Hold on, let me get more of my face in camera. I've just been vibing, not paying attention. Yeah, no, I like that. Squad of 1 to 5, 1 heavy bolter per 5. Great. That looks solid. Big value. Infiltrator squad. OC1. Interesting. So being more valuable models, you get the trade-off if you lose the OC2. Okay. That's good. I'm pleased with that. I wouldn't want them to get everything. Marksman bolt rifle, bolt carbines. They used to have lethal hits, right? The equivalent of. Now they have heavy. That feels odd on an AP01 damage weapon. Cool. They keep the can't reinforce within 12 inches. One of the best rules that Space Marines had last edition, and they've still got it. So big fan of that. And then you get either 6 up Field of Pain or refund a CP on a stratagem. Cool. So you give them the Helix Gauntlet, because I don't feel like there's anything here that makes me want to spend strats on them, other than maybe move away. That's fine there. Infiltrators make my Trigon sad. Chris, my Trigon makes my Morlock sad because my Morlock's the one that should be coming in 3 inches away. I don't really understand how that's happened, but here we are. Okay, so Incursors, the other infiltrating squad. Oh, no, they're not. They're scouts. Okay, so... Okay, so infiltrators infiltrate. And get out of here. Scouts, the Incursors scout. That is, yeah, GSC2. Yeah, but Felix, GSC deserved to be made feel, sad. After being absolutely decimated by Porter's GSC, not getting to my turn 3, I have no sympathy for anyone who plays GSC. Let's see what they've got. Multi-spectrum array. After they've shot, select one enemy unit that was hit. Until the end of the phase, each time they just give out +1 to hit across the board. Well, that seems good. That seems really good. And you can assault, so you can cut angles with them if your opponents manage to hide them. Although I guess that's... Oh, and then you can do it with indirect, potentially. That's... okay. Assault ignores cover. Ignores cover's fine. It's an AP0 gun. I don't hate that. Hayworm Mine. You can throw it, do some mortal wounds or 2d3 on a vehicle. Cool. That's fine. Nice bit of fluff. Just a cheeky bit of mortal wounds every now and then is good. This is a really good rule. +1 to hit for your entire army. Like, I'm expecting to see Death Stars, so if we're seeing like a Terminator Death Star, for example, and you just get +1 to hit on your entire army. I mean, yeah, you're re-rolling hits anyway, but it's just nice to have that. I guess this is almost like a backup oath, or if you can get them into cheeky angles, you can negate the penalty of some indirect shooting. So that's something. Cool. Tactical squad. They can shoot and charge a turn which they fell back. Cool. They have the same stat line as Primaris still. That's cool. Got your full complement of weapons there, so you can take 1 heavy or special, 1 special, 1 melee. Interesting that it doesn't say per 5. Oh no! It doesn't say per 5 because there's 10 models in the squad. So long, Tactical Marines. You weren't being played ever, but you're definitely not being played now. That's really bad. Unless they're like 12 points each, and then Black Templar foot slogging's gone again. No, Felix, you can't split fire with that. It's only a single unit. It would be pretty cracked out of its mind if you could, but it's still pretty good. +1 to hit on a key unit. Scouts. Bit of a weird unit, fluff-wise, because they're just making Primaris whole cloth, right? Do you still need scouts? I'm not sure how that works. So they are 4-up save, OC1, 2 wounds, though. Okay. They're not 2 wounds currently, are they? Oh, I don't like that, Gilmore says in chat. The penalties of indirect, he says. Ah, ha, 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 ha. That means there's going to be something that makes me sad. Yeah, Chris, 2 wound scouts. That's cool, right? Let's talk about what we've got on the screen instead of what's going to ruin my life. 2 wounds and a 4-up save. That's just kind of cute. That's the stat line of the Primaris Neophytes that you got in the Mixed Crusader squads. I like that. That's cool. If it's more than 6 inches away from all enemy models at the end of your opponent's turn, you can go into strat reserve. Fantastic rule. Like, we're going to be scoring behind enemy lines with this unit all game long. Well, once and then it dies, but it's good to have. What's got... Oh, missile launcher. What can it have? All the standard stuff. You can take 5 of them. Thank God. You don't have to take 10. I like that ability. Yes, Simon, you should like that ability. It is fantastic. Do they have any other rules on there? Infiltrators and Scout. See, that's weird. You get Infiltrator and Scout. Sneaky R&D. Is R&D still in the game? I can't remember. I don't think it is, but I guess we'll double check that one. Can anyone confirm in the key rules, the USRs, if you can infiltrate and stealth? I don't think there's anything that stops you from doing that. Not that you'd particularly want to with this squad. Sniper rifles, you can only be... So they've got effectively the character rule, the lone operative. That's cute. That's quite nice, actually. Like, if your opponent... Depending if you're playing against like a gun line, if you hammer down one flank, you can kind of put something on an objective that's out in the open behind your models without having to commit. You know, it can't be shut off. That's nice. They've got sniper rifles, heavy precision 3.4.2.2. Those are fucking great. That's really good. It's a mini redeploy after you know if you go first. Yeah, no, I agree. That is solid. Simon says it works for missions where you can't infiltrate deep strike. Yeah, that's true. But no, those sniper rifles are good. Someone said in the group chat that snipers were solid, and they were talking about how characters have tended to lose wounds this edition. But 4.2.2, that is a solid profile. You're only getting one shot, but if you can stand still, which you can because you can be out in the open without being shot back, you're going to be hitting on 2s, wounding most things on 4s, AP 2 damage. You're going to chunk. You got a couple of units of those, especially if you put them high up and you get them to AP3, and then you're chipping away at characters without an infun, which I think we're going to see a lot of, like the support characters. So you could shoot down from the top of a building into lieutenants. You're going to be wounding on 4s. They're going to be saving on 6s. Okay. I don't hate that. I really don't hate that. You can give them a missile launcher, but I don't think you do. Scout detachment, anyone? Oh, Simon. So 8th edition, before the latest book came out, the one that changed scouts from troops to elites, I was thinking about doing a full scout army with the Landspeeder Storms. It wasn't going to be good, but it was going to be funny. And then I was glad that they didn't, because they became elites and I couldn't do it. Not battle line. I haven't been checking for battle line. It's probably all the Tacticus stuff that we've just gone past. All of your standard troops. In fact, let me just very quickly go back up. So we're on 75 at the moment. Let's just go back up to 60. Heavy. So these are battle line infiltrators. Cool. So this is what I wanted to check. So the scout units aren't battle line. You can't take them as your battle line units. Okay. Not that I think it matters too much at the moment, unless you want to spam them. Another character in the middle of all the troops. Nice. Company champion. 10C. Precision 5. 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 5, AP 2 damage, that's fine. +1 to advance and charge. Okay, so he's a leader. And you can use the Heroic Intervention strat for Serious CP. That's nice. This model makes an attack, so it doesn't give it to the unit. Okay, so you can reroll hits and wounds against characters. That's cool. Simon says, would that have worked in the Arcs of Omen style detachment? Unfortunately not, because the limiter was how many squads of them you could take. If they were still troops, I could have taken, you know, as many as I wanted, or 6, or what have you. Base assault, heavy intercessors, and tactical seem to be the only battle line units. Thanks, Ilawazzle, clearing that up for me because I was not paying attention. Company champion, what can they join? Okay, he can't go in a squad with a captain. Kind of feels like, unless he's super cheap, if he's like 40, 50 points or something, I'm happy to whack him in a melee squad. Might be nice in a unit of Blade Guard. Yeah, I think that seems immediately like a great synergy there. If he's cheap, if he's not much more than a couple of Blade Guard, yeah, that could be cute. Here we go, Apothecary. So just straight up return a destroyed model in the command phase. That's nice. Always good for objective jank, charge jank, to bring stuff back. When this model's bodyguard unit is destroyed on a 2+, you get a CP. Sound. Great job, Apothecary. You've not brought anyone back to life, but you've managed to harvest their gene seed. Big points for you. Cool. He's got an AP4. that pistol's. I think I've never looked at this profile in 9th edition. Is this very similar? One shot at 3-inch range, hitting on 3, strength 4, AP 4, 2 damage. Squashing the AP here. Good job, Games Workshop. That's an interesting one. To be fair, having a pistol pointed at your chest from 3 inches away that's going to do some penetrating. Okay. No resing Terminators anymore. Oh, yeah. No, that's a good point. There isn't an Apothecary in Terminator armor. Well, there is, but only for Deathwing. We've seen them already. I think they're part of the command squad. Okay, cool. So they can join. There we go. They can join Desolation squads. Because not many characters have been able to. Just this and the Librarian, I think it was. Then we've got the big chunky boy. I'm still very disappointed that he doesn't have like a better melee weapon. Hitting a motherfucker with that big case there feels like it'd be something worth more melee, and we've seen what he can do already. Yeah, Chris says, yeah. I don't know if they'll bring out a Terminator Apothecary. Like, it feels like they'll bring out Gravis, because Gravis is woefully underrated, under-supported, sorry, by characters. When I was having a quick look through, I was talking to my mate. He was pointing out how few units they have to buff them. So we'll see. They might get that. Can't join Blade Guard either. Oh, hold on. Can't join Blade Guard. Yeah, Blade Guard aren't Gravis. They are just Tacticus, I believe. Yeah. Blade Guard. He can't join Blade Guard. Huh. I guess no one can join Blade Guard. Apart from old company champion that we saw there. Cool, Primaris Agent. This is one that I did look at and I took a screenshot of, and I massively misread it. Unbreakable duty, within range of an objective and or 6 inches of the battlefield, get a 4-up Feel No Pain. I thought it was the unit, and I was like, holy shit, this is great. Turns out it's just that model. But Tor Gaw'dam later on is good for Gravis. Lovely stuff. I'll have a look at him. I did have a quick skim on the characters. I really like Pedro Cantor, but I didn't really look at Tor Gaw'dam. Adds 1 to OC. That's just nice. That makes sense. It's what we've seen from the Deathwing squad with all the attached banners and similar. Okay, he can go in the Desolation squad. What does he give them? He gives them fuck all, so probably not. Blade Guard Ancient. Going to put a Judicar on the Blade Guard anyway. Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to getting to see that then. +1 to OC. Once per battle, give them +1 attacks. Okay, that's just nice to have. He has nothing himself. I maybe would be tempted to just pay the points to get extra models. Primaris, Apothecary, Librarian, and Ancient are the only things to lead Desolation squads. Excellent. I've seen all of them. I'm going to stop looking for things. Yeah, so he can only go on the Blade Guard. I mean, the main reason I'd put him in is because he's a baller model. So that probably doesn't make the cut in a comp list. Ancient and Terminator armor. +1 to hit, +1 to wound if they're below starting strength and below half strength. That is snazzy, and because he is not a useless fuck, he can take an actual weapon as well. He can even take twin lightning claws because he can put his banner on his back. What an absolute hero. Can he join as well? Yeah, so this feels like something that you're going to attach to a squad if you're wanting to go for that Death Star. You're going to put a captain and maybe an ancient, or a librarian and an ancient, or I guess a chaplain and an ancient as well. Yeah, there we go. Good job. Oh, not a librarian. So a captain or lieutenant. Okay. So you can't go in with a librarian or a chaplain. Interesting. Isn't the biologist the Gravis Apothecary? That is correct. I may have said there wasn't one. If I did, I misspoke. My apologies there. Blade Guard. Here we go. People have been popping off about that in the chat, so let's have a look at what they do. So they are still T4. That's a little bit sad. 6-inch move. 3 wounds. That's good. They are OC1. That sucks incredible amounts. Everything's pretty standard. 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 5-2-2. That's worse than they are at the moment. I think right now they've got, I want to say they've got 4 attacks at 6-3-2 on the charge. Does it count as an apothecary if it doesn't heal a unit? Yes, because he is not a physician of the flesh. He's just there to get the property back. So basically what I'm saying is Space Marines are a metaphor for capitalism. They don't care if you die. All they want is their property, and the property's you. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Okay, they do get a special rule. Start of the fight phase, you can select one of the following abilities, reroll 1s to hit or reroll 1s to saves. Great. That rule was shown on the Warriors. This feels a lot better on a unit with a 4-up invuln. That's a good defensive rule on a 4-up invuln, not on a 4-up armor save. And rerolling hit wounds of 1, that's just quite nice. But if strapped support like the Assault one, they could become very potent. Yeah. No, I think you probably can pile buffs into them. Just losing that strength and AP feels a little rough because they weren't amazing in 9th edition anyway. They've lost their 2-up save, that does make me sad. They don't have the +1 to the save anymore, so they've just got a 3-up save and a 4-up invuln. That kind of sucks. points dependent if they're not too expensive, and maybe they don't need the top save because they're going to be piling out of a vehicle of some kind. Transports. I'm looking forward to looking at transports. All right, so command squad. How does this work? Okay, cool. So you can't. It's not like an addition. It's not like the Imperial Guard company commands where you just make a unit like 15 models. So apothecary returns a model. Banner adds 1 to OC. Honor of Death. Yeah, cool. So it's just a squad that's all of the things we've seen already, and then 2 company veterans who can have build your own. Cool. It's not a competitive unit. Van Vets, here we go. They have got heirloom weapons. Oh, that's not good. They're, they're worse in melee than a Tyranid warrior with ranged weapons. They have the same stat line, but 1 less attack. God, that sucks. And you can't even replace both their weapons. So you can't even go jank and give them 2 Inferno pistols or something like that, or 2 plasma pistols. I hate that. This is such a disappointing unit. I did see someone saying, rip Van Vets, but I hadn't realised quite how bad it is. Yay, they get lethal hits. They fucking need them, because the weapons are dog shit. Never mind. Never mind. Oh, and then just to rub the salt in the wound, Van Vets again, but with jump packs. Cool. More expensive. Stern Guard! These guys are nuts. This would be a good target for Bolter Drill if Desolation Marines didn't exist, because you've already convinced me, chat, that Desolation Marines are cracked out of their mind. So, probably going to replace by Primaris Jumpy soon enough, right? Maybe, I guess. But the way they're going, it kind of feels like they're just making analogous units. So they'll maybe just make like a Primaris Stern Guard vet, the way that they've made the Primaris Stern Guard. So, yeah, these guys are great. Like, this is what I want my infantry to be. The only downside to them is their OC 1 instead of 2, and they're not battle line, so you're capped to 3 units. But, yeah, I think a lot of them are going to be run. I don't think it's going to be competitive. My immediate thought was take an Ancient when I thought I gave them a 4-up Feel No Pain and put Pedro Cantor in there for shits and giggles. It's thematic, even if it's not good. Judicar. All right, Galmaris was saying that this guy is good. Oh, okay, so he gives fight first. Cool. There we go. There. that's the rule. Fights first is cracked out of its mind. So, yeah. How is he? He's got a 1-shot bolt pistol, and he's got a relic blade with devastating wounds and precision, 5 attacks, strength 7, AP 2 damage. It's fine. And then he gets extra attacks if he kills characters. There's no way this guy's just like sweeping through and mulching multiple characters, right? It doesn't feel realistic. I've somehow just gone back up. Let me re-chat while I scroll. As I read the command squad, it's the only place for my firstborn apothecary. Yes, Simon, but also you could probably get away with running him as the Primaris version, and I don't think anyone would care. Or maybe they would. People notice when it's Space Marines. He's got a 4-up invuln. I'm pretty sure the Judicar didn't have an invuln beforehand. And leadership 5, yeah, that is nuts. He's as brave as Guilliman. He's got a sort of Knights Templar bad boy biker vibe going on. Give him the enhancement. Oh, the +1 strength and attacks, +2 if he's in Assault Doctrine, which he probably will put this squad in Assault Doctrine because they're advancing. And then he's got 7 attacks at strength 9, AP 2 damage. Yeah, that's not bad. That's cheeky. Cheeky. Obviously goes well with advancing and charging. Yeah, he can go in the Blade Guard. I just had to check there for a moment. Reavers. Galmaris was saying these are good. Or low-key good. Let's have a look. Start the fight phase. If you're in engagement range, you force Battle Shock. Okay. Cool. And it's -1 leadership. Cool. And they have ignore vertical distance. So they've got old school fly. So you can kind of do some jank with that. And then they have deep strike. Okay, so you take the grapnel launchers or the grav shoots. I don't think you get both. They've got a scout move, and then all of their stuff is terrible. It has precision, but I don't really care about forcing a load of AP0 saves. Like, it'll probably pick up something easy. Yeah, no, thanks for the point out there, Felix Crab. It is indeed an invuln only on the melee for the Judicar there. Reavers are interesting. Being better than Fly Solaris, yeah, no, it absolutely is. You can do the old shit of like get to the top of the 9-inch terrain. Oh, that's so stupid. I am not sure how that's going to be broken, but it will be, and I don't want to see it. What have they got here? Yeah. So you can have the grav shoot. Oh, you can have both upgrades. I guess they pay points. Aggressors. I've been pretty keen to see these. T6 for Gravis, 3 wounds, 3 up save, OC 1, that's fine. I like this rule here. I did look at this briefly. They get AP 1 against the closest unit. That's kind of cool. Here's the downside. When I was talking to Craig before this, he pointed out that with a move 5, you probably don't get to target the unit you want. Crisis units in shambles, yeah, absolutely. But I don't know. It feels like they're just a good brawler unit. I think they're going to be significantly cheaper than Terminators. This is where like the points really make the unit. So I'm keen to see how that goes. They've got twin linked on their stuff. The Flamestorm gauntlets, they're averaging 4.5 shots. I don't love that. Even with Overwatch strat, it's kind of whatever because it's AP 0. Maybe it's AP 1 if they're the closest unit. But I do quite like them with the Boltstorm gauntlets and then the grenade launcher. Interesting that the captain just got AP1 baked into his data sheet and they have to work for it. That's kind of interesting. Power fists that hit on 4s. I don't love that. The power fists we've been seeing hit at normal weapon skill, but these ones hit worse but reroll to wound. Not a big fan. They seem bad. Okay, if they're cheap, they can go. Yeah, I think if they're a beefy unit that you just kind of sit in the middle and you put like a chaplain in there or something. Never mind, there's no Gravis chaplain. It would have to be a captain, and he doesn't buff them to hit. Okay, so there's no way to buff them to hit off the top of my head. If I'm wrong, someone put it in the chat because I'm not seeing any way to do that. Yeah, no, I think you're right. You don't want to rely on it for the moment because then you're also not only it's like really limiting. You can only fire them into 1 unit a turn, but you're wasting your twin linked on your melee weapons as well. I don't love that. Good in Sally's. We haven't seen any support for salamanders yet, but we'll see. Terminator Assault Squad. They are as expected. Nice to have the confirmation here that they do go up to 4 wounds with the Storm Shield. Big fan of that. Teleport Homer, that's the same. Terminatus Assault. When it ends a charge move, each enemy unit with engagement range must take a battle shock test. Holy shit. Like, if you've got a 10-man unit here with a banner in and a captain, so you've got 12 models, you can hit multiple units here and just force a load of battle shock. I don't know if that's good because, you know, then you're spreading yourself thin. You probably get punched back on the return. But if you manage to tie up a shooting army, sorry, that is going to be hilarious when they're all battle shocked and they can't do anything. Lightning Claws. I really like Lightning Claws, but Strength 5 is not what it used to be. Now, to be able to wound vehicles on 5s, you'd need Strength 7. So it's still good, but it's just not the all-purpose weapon that you could make it if you get them to Strength 5 last edition. Someone pointed out to me in the group chat that they were base equipped with Thunderhammer Storm Shield and the Lightning Claws can be a replacement, and they think that is indicative of them not charging for the Lightning Claw. Sorry, for the Thunderhammer and Storm Shield. I'm not sure if that's the case, but it'd be interesting if that is correct. Because +1 wound and an okay melee profile feels better than just like the better melee profile there. We've seen these guys already. +1 to hit, ignore the ballistic skill and weapon skill roll, yada yada. It's a great roll, but we've seen it already. Like, who hasn't studied this data sheet already? Relic Terminators. So they are the same data sheet wise. They can get grenades. Big buff there, as we all know. Fury of the First, so they've just got the same rule. Right, they've got the same rule as the normal Terminators, but they don't have the teleport Homer. So that's just worse. I guess it depends if they can have better loadouts. Because that's the only difference here. You can have the Plasma Blaster or the Volkite. Volkite does some devastating wounds. Flammable Reaper, Grenade Harness, which now doesn't do shooting, it just gives them the keyword. Power Weapon Train First, Twin Lightning Claws. I am not loving this. Unless these are a bit cheaper than normal Terminators, they just feel worse. I think if I had these models, I'd be using them as normal Terminators, and probably no one would care. Centurions, 4-inch move is so sad, man. I guess you can advance and charge with them, and maybe you can put them in a Land Raider, and you can like move the Land Raider and come out and charge. That might be something that's worth doing, but like, fuck me, man. Cool. So how are they in combat? So they've got 3 attacks, hitting on 3, strength 10, AP2, 3 damage. And they have sustained hits 2 against monsters, vehicles, and fortifications. That is interesting. That's a spicy meatball. You can... So we're on 109. Let's just go back up to the base rule here. I can't remember what page it's on. Who was it that gives... I'm sure there was something that gives crit hits on a 5. Bolted Doctrine. Okay, so it's ranged attacks. Okay, never mind. I was thinking you get exploding hits on a 5 there. Charging with 3 attacks? I don't think so. Yeah, fucking charging at all. Like, that's probably not happening. But, yeah. Maybe there's something here. Centurion Bolters, they've got 6 shots. Okay, so it's a twin-linked 6-shot bolt gun. That's fine. They used to have 12 shots, which is better. Twin Flamer... Again, just twin link, twin multi-gun. Okay. They're kind of whatever. But the melee's interesting. The best anti-tank unit, lol. Yeah, Space Marine shooting's usually the best anti-tank. But this is... I don't know, like... I like this profile. I feel like there's going to be something that ends up working well with it that might not be immediately obvious or might not be there on launch, but there'll be something over the course of the edition. There's my hot take. For the title, I need to do more hot takes. Centurion Assault Squads will be good. They will be a meta unit at some point, or like a game-breaking unit maybe, at some point down the line, when all the obviously broken shit gets nerfed. They can just have all this stuff there. They can have a squad of up to 6. I don't think I've seen anything that's been able to lead them. I was saying before, and you guys kindly reminded me of their names. This feels so unnatural. I think it's the background's quite flat, and this is like, no, this is flat, and that's less flat. If they're 25 points per model, shh, Chris, shh. They'll be good. They'll be good. Just wait and see. I'll do something with them at some point. We'll get cheeky with them. But like, doesn't this look weird? This just doesn't quite look right. It looks superimposed. It obviously is superimposed, but it looks very like stuck on. Anyway, let's have a look at the weapons. So the missile launcher, blast, D3, strength 9 AP through 3 damage. That's not bad, because they can have that instead of the bolters. If that's cheap, that's quite a good gun. Grav cannons, 3 shots, 6, 1, 3. Oh, that AP one's a killer. I don't love that AP. And then heavy bolter and las cannon, we know what they do. Okay. Decimated protocols, reroll a hit, roll a 1. If the target's on an objective marker, reroll the hit instead. It's a good roll. We've seen it. We've seen it around. I'm less impressed by these. There's less here that makes me go, ooh, maybe. If they're 25 points per model, though, at T7. T7? I somehow skipped that. T7, 4 wounds, and a 2-up save is, yeah, that's some chunk. You know, maybe there's something there, but you're probably right on that one. We've got to the walkers. Walkers are the most goodest. So, movement 8, T8. This is squishy. This is light. It makes sense because it's open-topped. 3-up save, 12 wounds, OC4, leadership 6. That's fine. 8-inch scout move. Okay, that's fine. Uh, okay, so if you have Phobos that are shot in your opponent's shooting phase within 6 inches of him, he gets to shoot back. So this is going to be very terrain dependent, but yeah, Space Marine convertible, and the only one whose arms pop into the data sheet. No, absolutely. I like how we've stopped talking about the rules. We've hit the point now, an hour 20, and we're just like, don't these sheets look weird? So if he's going to be shooting back in your opponent's shooting phase, let's have a look. What's he got? He's got Heavy Bolter, Fragstorm Launcher, which is just some chaff shots, the Ascendium Cannon. Oh, that used to be damage 2. That was quite spicy when it was damage 2. Now it's not. I don't love that. Einhell Autocannon is pretty standard for the autocannons we've seen, only 3 shots, but twin-linked. This shooting is underwhelming. I don't think I'm taking this to protect my Phobos units that I'm probably not putting in the line of fire anyway and just buddying them up. The Vistas is much strength. Yeah, that's true. Strength 14. Nids. I didn't really rant about it, but the Khan effects is really just were upsetting. Strength 14 is not bad. It has always been strength times 2 though, so I shouldn't be too salty here. All right, so we've gone from the new model to the old model. Dreadnought, 6-inch move, so it's unplayable. Toughness 9, 2-up save, that's nice. Wounds 8, OC 3. It's got Wisdom of the Ancients, a reroll Aura of 1s to hit. That's kind of cute. Maybe you take one in a gun line. I don't think you do. Can you give it a... Okay, so you can still take the old school missile launcher plus gun combination. Maybe if you're playing a gun line, this is worth taking. I assume not, but the 6-inch move kind of doesn't matter too much at that point. T9, 2-up save, 8 wounds. Kind of falls over to a fart, but yeah, we'll see. Contemptor Dreadnought. Now this is one that I have seen. I got very excited when I read this. So it's just the old plastic kit that I think they've discontinued, and now they have a new plastic kit which has all the weapons in, but you can't use them, yada yada. You've got the carries assault pattern, assault cannon even, which is just an assault cannon with AP1, dead wounds, nice, multi-melter. Honestly, the multi-melter version might be playable. And then you've got a Dreadnought close combat weapon, weirdly only strength 12 instead of strength 14, AP2 3 damage, that's fine. But when it dies on a 2+, it gets back up at the end of the phase with D6 wounds remaining. That's just nice, and it doesn't bracket as well. And it's got an inbuilt 5-up save. It's 10 wounds. I don't know. Like this is nice. If this is cheap enough, I really like this as just like a throwaway skirmish, sit in an objective against a shooting army sort of model, make their life really difficult. I think there's some fun stuff to be done there. Ironclad, again, T6, movement 6, so terrible. T10, which is kind of lower than I'd expected, because it was T8 in the old rules. 2-up save still, 8 wounds, so just bad. It does get +1 to hit and wound versus vehicles. It's melee only. When I read this before, I thought it was anything, and I was like, oh, the hunter-killer missiles, that's not bad. Yeah, no, this is dog shit. This is really, really bad. End of phase respawn is cheeky. Yeah, absolutely. Like, against single-phase armies, that's going to be huge for just, like, snagging objectives. I don't necessarily think that makes him worth taking, but it's just a really nice rule to have. And I love my Dreadnought, so that's some jank I'm happy to see. Oh, no, Games Workshop, what is this? Dreadnought Chain Fist has the anti-vacuole rule, 3+. Sloppy. It's all right. It's not like you're a massive multi-million-pound company. 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 12, AP2, 3 damage. So if you take the close combat weapon, you've got the same stat line, but you don't have anti-vehicle 3+. Honestly, because it doesn't have dev wounds, and there's no obvious way to give it dev wounds, you just take the close combat weapon, I guess, or the seismic hammer. I mean, you can potentially have 2 of them. There's no rule for getting... Yeah, you can have double melee weapons, and there's no benefit. The whistle says, weird that his gun overlaps the box, but his fist doesn't. Thank you. We're back to we're back to talking about the data sheets. Yeah, that is super fucking weird. Like, I guess this would come all the way down here. So you may never have seen this model before, because, you know, it's dog shit. The rules anyway. But this is a chain fist that goes quite far down here. So I guess that's why it doesn't overlap. But still, do a better job, Games Workshop. Terrible, but it still exists. So maybe in, 11th edition, that'll be good. Redemptor. I cheated. I looked ahead. I know what this does. This is fucking cracked. I love this. I love this so much. The fact that it still has -1 damage. It's right. This is less important than last edition because we're not going to be trying to kill vehicles with mass damage too, the way that we have been. But yeah, like that's just such a good rule to have, especially when it's on a T10 chassis. 2-up save. 8-inch move is still a little lower than I'd prefer, but things seem to be getting a little slower. The Flyrant for Nids has gone down to a 12-inch move. Yeah, 12 wounds, so he has lost a wound. OC4, that's not shabby. Chris says the box naught feels pointless unless it's 70 points. Yeah, and Felix, there's a scout buffing character for Ultramarines. That is interesting. Interesting. And yeah, Ela Wassel says day 1 FAQ of -1 damage can't reduce lower than 1, right? There has to be. There has to be. Like any practice games that I'm playing, I'm just going to be assuming that all of those sorts of rules, like you can't go below 1 attack, you can't go below 1 damage. I'm just going to assume that that's the way it is. So let's have a quick look at these weapons. Heavy flamers, as you'd expect. Heavy onslaught cannon has been revealed already. Lost the AP, which is kind of You're really fishing for those devastating wounds. The regular onslaught Gatling cannon is 8 shots. Was it 8 before? Or was it 6? So if you take the double onslaught, you've got 20 shots that you're fishing for 6s on. That's something. Icarus rocket pod is anti-fly. That's whatever. The plasma is slightly less swingy than it was before. It's the same profile, but it's got D6 plus 1 shots instead of D6. I don't love it. You've got a chance to just hit yourself for 3 mortal wounds. Chris says the only thing he lost is his output into other vehicles. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Strength 9 does not cut it into other vehicles, but it will be good into the sort of mid-sized brawling units in a dreadnought off. It's not bad. I guess you're not shooting it into a Redemptor. That's a really bad target for it, but yeah. And then he's lost his massive damage on his fist. He's just got the flat 3 damage there. How are we doing on time? Oh no, we're an hour and a half in. I don't think we're getting this done in 2 hours. Maybe we'll go 2.5. We'll see. Brutalis Dreadnought. So this is the same chassis. Interestingly, it doesn't have the -1 damage, which is interesting. You can Brutalis charge, though. So you're going to be doing roll a d6 when you charge against 1 enemy unit in engagement range. 2 to 3, it's d3 mortal wounds, and then better and better. Funnily enough, you can combo this with, what's the strat? The tank shock, because it doesn't have a walker keyword prohibiting it. But yeah, so you can just shit out mortal wounds with this unit on the charge. Strength 12 is actually not that amazing. Again, like they haven't made any reason for you to take the fists over the talons, and that is so frustrating. You have an opportunity to make the fists good at one thing and the talons a more generalist profile. Why would you not take that? Like, oh well. At least they've made it less of a shooting focus model because all of its guns have gone twin linked instead of just getting 2 shots or double the shots from them. Brutalis, we've talked about this one. I hate his stumpy legs. He absolutely skipped leg day. Assault Squad. These were the terror of late 9th edition, or rather, I guess, the Space Wolf version was. What do they got? OC1. They've got fairly standard rules. Their Eviscerator has sustained hits 1, 722, hitting on 4s. The army rule here, Chainsaw Doctrine. So it only applies to their chainswords, but you can get sustained hits, lethal hits, or lance. Okay. That's quite cute. I mean, you want them to be cheap because they're a skirmishing unit. You're only going to be able to take 1 good weapon in there, because I'm not looking at the Eviscerator and saying that's a good weapon. Yeah, okay. That's interesting. I like that. It would have to be quite cheap for me to want to take it, but just getting that flexibility and be like, oh, this is a squad where I want to go it kind of feels like it's always going to be sustained hits. Someone will run the maths on it. Like if they wound on 6s, I guess it becomes Lance. Chris says Brutalis with tank shock is a mortal wound bomb. Yeah, it absolutely is. That's going to do a stupid amount of mortal wounds. And Galmara says Assault Marine's better than Van Vets. Yeah, that's true and disappointing because you can still do the jank where you go. We're going to go, take a pistol on the assault sergeant, then we're going to go double gun onto assault marines, as in like give them both a gun, and then you've got 2 cheap guys, and they just put out more output than they really should do. Oh, and this. Oh no. Oh no, that was the foot assault squad. But that was a good rule. I really liked that. Oh, right, cool. So now you've got assault squad with jump packs, and instead they just do mortal wounds, a single mortal wound on a 4-up on the charge. Woo. That's exciting. That was a really cool, well-written rule. This is fun. You have to think about it. God damn it. Why would you not put it the other way around? I'm disappointed, Games Workshop. I'm disappointed. Okay. Same options here. Outriders. And they have got another line on the datasheet. Invader ATV. So they are taking a leaf out the non-Primaris squads, and they can just put a single invader in. That's cool. Up to 6. It used to be just a flat 3 squad, so you can make a beefy squad of Outriders here, and you can lead them with the bike chaplain. Okay, that's cool. What have they got? Just the standard there. So the Gatling is as we've seen. The twin bolt rifle is as we've seen. Going from 4 to shots to 2 kind of sucks. I'm not a huge fan of that. It makes sense why it's there, but just losing that high output kind of feels a bit bad. And they still keep their stupid number of attacks. I think they had slightly more than this, but getting 4 attacks on the charge at strength 4 AP 1/1 damage is still pretty decent. And then the Invader ATV. Oh, that's the point. Do they have a special rule here? Flat 6-inch advance. Yeah, cool. Very nice. So you could put your captain in there and go hunting for some elves. Not a bad unit to give advance and charge to. Obviously, they're not going to be killing like big stuff, but okay. Outrider Escort for the ATV. This is the ATV squads on their own. Once per turn, when a friendly mounted unit within 6 is selected as a target of attack. Okay, so this is the same rule as the Walker gets. You just get a shoot back. This is something that might actually be useful because the guns are better, and you can bodyguard your bike squads. I guess you just shoot the more valuable ATVs, but they're harder to kill. T5, 8 wounds. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Bike squad, turbo boost, yes, nice. So they've got the flat 6 advance. Like, I'm so happy with this as just a rule. Instead of them getting something cute or interesting, they just get, we're going to keep our rule that we had from last edition. That was just good. Big fan of that there. And then they've still got the same, Sergeant can take 1 of fucking anything. They can all take chainswords instead of bolt pistols, which you'll always will, and then you can take 2 weapons there and a multi-melter on the attack pack. That's nice. Scout squads. Scout bike squads, these are interesting. Someone pointed that out to me. When they arrive from Strat Reserve, they can be set up in your opponent's deployment zone. So I'm assuming that that's like a turn 2 restriction, and they're able to come in and just ignore that, which is really nice. The only thing on there that's kind of going to be different is the grenade launcher. Okay, we've seen that already. And it's mid at best. Squads of 6. I think there used to be squads of 9. I guess they've capped that down. Don't want any big bike Death Stars coming up unexpectedly. Attack bikes, they've got the same rule for the escorts. They're even easier to kill, so I feel like this isn't going to work out. Chris says, do barb gaunts work against bikes because you technically don't roll your advance? No, because it's only against infantry. But if it was a melee unit that had a 6-inch advance, it still would minus from it. Suppressors. Suppressors. They are That is so weird. So they've got 3 shots, strength 8, AP 1, 2 damage. Autocannons have gone 913, so I don't really understand why these are worse. They were better than normal autocannons through 8th and 9th edition. I think they were strength. I think they were strength 7, AP 2, 2 damage. Or maybe that was just if you were shooting them in Dev Doctrine. But that's a bit disappointing. And you pick one unit that you shot, and they are -1 to hit. Maybe this is anti-Death Star tech, but I'm not seeing anything that's survivable enough to put that level of focus into it yet. Interceptors, they are now T6, which is hilarious for a unit with a jetpack that big. This is a mixed bag. They have got a rule that lets they come in 3 inches away. So they've got proper Gene Stealer, Colts, Deep Strike, really good for behind enemy lines. It's going to be hard to screen that out. And then they can shoot as well. But on the flip side, their weapons are significantly worse. So Assault Bolters is cool. You get sustained hits too, but you only get 3 shots instead of 6. Twin Linked, sure. I'm not loving that. I'd prefer to just have the 6 shots and not the Twin Linked. And then the same on the Exterminators, the Plasma Exterminators. Instead of coming down and having 2d3 shots, you only have 2 shots. Rerolls wounds, but they are pistol now, which is nice because they are, handheld guns. I don't think they were pistol before. I think they were assault. So that's kind of cute, but I don't know. This is like super points dependent. This feels like it's going to be a jank unit, or maybe like a weird sniping unit if your opponent's running like individual characters somehow. I don't know. I'm not sold on them. Hot take. You know what? We need more hot takes. They're dog shit. Put them in the bin. They're probably not because they're 3-inch Deep Strike. Then we are on to the new land speeders, and these look cracked out of their goddamn minds. So they have guns. The guns are whatever. Hail Strike. When this model is shot, select one enemy unit that was hit by one of our attacks until the end of the phase. Each time a friendly Adeptus Astartes unit makes a ranged attack against that enemy unit, improve the AP of that attack by 1. Fucking hell. Like, that is so good. In an edition where we were, looking at lower AP, and it kind of has looked that way, Marines have lost their doctrines to just get extra AP across the board. Hey guys, heard you like AP, just have it in a flying can. That's actually kind of hard to crack. T9, 11 wounds, OC3, because just that's reasonable. I really like this. If this isn't too expensive, this is going to be like, it feels like a pretty auto-include in any Marine army that's shooting. Maybe 2, because your opponent's going to want to take that out early doors. But yeah, and then it's got guns, but you don't really care about the guns. You care about the buff. Thunderstrike. Select one enemy monster or vehicle unit that was hit by one or more attacks, and you get +1 to wound. Again, cracked out your mind. Like, these are fucking so wild. And this one's actually got half decent shots. It's like the last Talon's only strength 9. Oh, that's only strength 9. Interesting. So it's kind of underwhelming itself. You might sneak a wound through, but if you're playing, if knights are big in the meta, for example, you're playing against a big knight, you just go, cool, I'm just going to put 1 shot into it. You're definitely going to be getting at least a hit off. And then you add 1 to wound roll for your entire army. You're already rerolling hits and wounds. Oh, hey, suddenly those Storm Bolters are hitting on 5s, rerolling everything. Sorry, wounding on 5s, rerolling everything. That just seems like a good combination. And then the Hammer Strike. Hammer Strike is the one I'm least impressed by, because why turn off cover when I could just give AP? But yeah, it turns off cover for the unit you shot. Chris Symbol says, an army supported by all the Storm Speeders will really shred anything with open moment. That is absolutely true. And you'll see on here that it says, this one specifically says, same enemy unit can only be affected by this ability once per phase. That's specific for the Hail Strike. You can affect the same unit with all 3 buffs if you wanted to. That's some cool synergy. Like, you're spending a lot of points to buff. I don't know if it's going to be worthwhile. I don't know if they're going to be tanky enough to survive. But it's neat. I'm here for it. I'm really excited to see what people do. I'm really excited to see what Ravenwing players do, because these look like they're going to be really valuable for that sort of list. Then on the other end, we've got the normal land speeders. They only T7. They're really squishy. 6 wounds. They do die to a fart. Um, you can, let's see here. So they give blast weapons +1 to hit and ignores cover. That's not bad. That's kind of like the spotting strat. Giving +1 to hit, giving ignore cover on top of that is quite nice. Interestingly, it is a squad of 1. You can't take 1 to 3, so anyone who's got more than 3 of each type of land speeder is going to be very sad. Sorry again to all you land speeder players. Tornadoes is doing mortal wounds over models. Oh, that's quite cute. So it's roll 6d6 and it's 1 mortal wound per. Like, that's not good, but it's some good jank. You're probably not taking this model, honestly. Like, the weapons don't feel good enough. But, you know, it's a cool roll. Again, just a squad size of 1. And then the Typhoon. You can redeploy d6 inches after you shoot. Right now, this is dog shit, because you have to have your entire base see a model behind obscuring terrain. It's weird if you're touching. I'll need to reread that one, but I think that's going to be FAQ'd. So you can just like peek out and then roll a d6 and move back behind cover. And maybe that's good, but I'll be honest, I don't think the weapons on here are worth taking for that. It's strength 9 d6 damage. It's kind of whatever. But yeah, Hellblasters. Hellblasters are funny. I don't know if they're good, but they are funny. So they're the minimum range. They're the range of the assault ones. They have assault and heavy. Hazardous if you overcharge them. They have 2 shots base, so there's no need to rapid fire, sorry. And they're the middle profile, the 832. So it's the middle of everything. Yes, Ilawazal, we are at the heavy support. We're definitely not getting this done in 20 minutes, but it might be done in 35 minutes. We'll see. What's cute about this is when it dies on a 3+, it gets to shoot again. That's very funny because you can shoot, die, shoot again. I'm a big fan of that. My first tournament, when I came back to the game in 8th edition, I played an Azrael Hellblaster Castle. This was back when modifiers stacked, and it wasn't an unmodified 1 to wound. It was just 1s to wound killed you. So if you shot into something that was -2 to hit, for example, or even hell, -3, Altiok Plains, you were killing yourselves on like 3s or 4s. But then I had a banner on a 4+. I was shooting on death. It was a great time. Fun time for all involved, apart from people being shot at. But yeah, points dependent on these. These are such a points dependent unit. It's so hard to say because they're so squishy. Look, it's OC1, T4, 2 wounds. Like, they die to a fart, but if they shoot well, then yeah. Eliminators. They have got precision snipers. Holy shit, their snipers are damage 3. Like, that's just good. Strength 5, AP2, damage 3. Heavy precision. So they have to stand still to hit on 2s, and then you've got a rule down here that if you remain stationary, you get dev wounds, so that's cool. So if you stand still, you're hitting on 2s and you've got devastating wounds. Or you can move out, shoot, the Eliminator Sergeant can shoot his bolt carbine and then make a normal move. So you can still do your movement shenanigans where you shoot and then you like move further forwards, getting an objective, which is always fun. Or you can, shoot and scoot, just use them to pop up, fire a couple of sniper rifle shots, and then sit back down. It is still just a squad of 3. These are really nice. They have lost their insane amounts of saves in cover, I believe. But yeah, no, they're cool. The last fusel is pretty underwhelming. 9-3 D6 is not a profile that I want to bank on. Maybe they're good if you take the whichever unit it was that gave them stealth. Was it a Phobos Librarian? Not stealth, sorry. Can't be shot outside of 12. Maybe at that point you take some, just so you can sit something heavy out in the open. But I still prefer the snipers, like from what we've seen of the rule set so far. Eradicator Squad. Yeah, I've been told about this. So you don't double shoot anymore. So you've just got your normal shots. You're hitting on 3s with the weapons and 4s with the multi-melter. But if you're shooting a monster or vehicle, you reroll the hit, you reroll the wound, and you reroll the damage. People said that Oath of Moment wasn't going to be good enough. How could I possibly get value out of Oath of Moment, they said. I can only kill 1 target a turn. Well, you could take Gaw'dam, or you could just take fucking Eradicators, and then you could shoot as many things as you like. It's unlike last edition, you don't have to shoot all your shots into the same model as well, so you can split fire comfortably and finish off some wounded stuff that you need to. And yeah, you can take the 3 to 5 there. That's a great shout. You do get +1 to hit on the 3-up. So the melter rifles are now hitting on 2s. Why? I don't know. Chris says they're more potent than they seem. I don't know about you, Chris. They seem pretty fucking potent. They seem insanely potent, in fact. So I do notice that I'm pretty sure they had a 24-inch range on the melter rifles before, or maybe even longer. I guess that's been nerfed now. They can go on drop pods. That seems fine to me. But add to Gaw'dam. Wow. I'm very excited when we get to him in 90 pages. There's so many pages. Oh, God. They also condensed the melter rifle and the heavy melter rifle on the hobby side. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of that. They did that with the bolt rifles that we've seen. I think it's just a great rule. They've just put all the rules on them. It makes Space Marines feel more jack of all trades, as I said before. Devastator Squad. Signum, if they stand still, ignore cover. You can flip one hit roll to a 6. So you don't get to shoot twice. You just get to flip a hit from a miss to a 6. That's cool. Can you give them sustained hits? I guess you can with the heavy bolter, so that's some value there. Or you can give them sustained hits with one of the strats as well. Okay, cool. These seem fine, but you'd probably just like either you take them because you need to kill something out of a drop pod, or you probably don't take them at all, I assume. I think there's probably better models. Oh, hey, everyone's favorite, Desolation Marines. We can skip these, right, guys? They're not very good. I'm pretty sure you guys told me they weren't very good. I don't think I need to look at these, do I? I'm just going to get a fresh drink and see if anyone's got anything to say. Worth skipping? No? All right. Let's have a look at this. I don't think I actually read this. So each time this unit remains stationary until the start of your next movement phase, ranged weapons equipped have the ignores cover ability, and it can ignore the penalties of the hit rolls when making attacks with indirect fire weapons against targets not visible to them. For fuck's sake. What's the point of fucking writing rules? Like, why would you write rules just to write rules to ignore them? God damn it. So, also, that second part of the rule is entirely pointless because the blast weapons don't have heavy. So instead of writing an extra 20 words, they could have just put the heavy tag on the weapons and not written something that's just more obviously bullshit and annoying. Someone jogged my memory. Does firing indirect give you +1 to your save, or does it give you cover? I think it gives you +1 to your save, so it doesn't ignore that at least. So that's something. Let's have a look at the profiles. The normal shots, they're fine. They're just rocket launchers, but slightly better. Cool. It's not where you take them. The Venga Boy, blast indirect fire, d6 shots, so it's the same. Hitting on 2s, cool, that's reasonable. Strength 7, AP 1, 2 damage. Now you can give them another hit. Gelmar says now you can give them another hit. How do you mean? Another +1 to hit? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shit. You can. That's true. Alright, well, we're not going to think about that. Cool. So the Castellan launchers, blast and indirect fire. Blast is now better, so that probably makes them better. Strength 4, AP 0, 1 damage. It's so... and the fire benefit cover and fire on blessed skill. God damn it. So they just ignore all of the indirect rules. That's so fucking stupid. D3 shots hitting on 3, strength 4, AP 0, 1 damage. Yeah. This is going to be so unpleasant to play against. I hope these just, like, day 1, whatever points they have, I hope they just slap an extra 5 points on there, because this is going to be so unpleasant to play against. Everyone's going to be playing Space Marines because the rules are so obviously strong. And then everyone's going to be running Desolation Marines because they're so obviously... Yeah, so Ela Wazzle says, we already saw the Axis have heavy indirect fire and ignore cover. That is true. I was less bothered about that because it was very hard to move the needle on it. This thing, you're going to take one squad. You're going to have 10 D3 shots plus blast. And then you're going to have the Venga launcher as well plus blast. And then you're going to stack the strats and the characters because you can put the enhancement on them that gives them sustained hits. You're going to have sustained hits on 5s. You're going to be... If you wanted, you can even take Gilliman or use it for moment to give them rerolls to hit and wound. Like, this is not good. This is not good for Bitcoin. This is not good for me because I'm going to be playing Eldar, and rumor is my indirect might be getting hit with the nerf bat. So it's going to be hard to swing back at these motherfuckers, especially because look at the fucking range on it as well. Why do they have 36-inch range? You know how you make this unit more reasonable? Give them like 24 or 18 on the Castellan launcher. The Venga launcher can stay max range. That doesn't matter. But if you make it so you have to be a bit more aggressive with him, and you can't just sit in the back row and cover most of the board, then you make it a more interactable unit, which is what you need for a non-line of sight gun. Speaking of line of sight, you've packaged it all together for me. Tremor shells. So it's the strat. -2 to move, advance, and charge. You fucked it up again. Again, they're writing so that you're minusing 4 from advances. Chris says they should have maximum of 6 models per unit. Chris, they should just write less bullshit rules. If they had rules that weren't so obviously ignoring all of the limitations on the broken play pattern, then they wouldn't have to cap it to 6, which would be weird for a Tacticus unit. But yeah, this as indirect goes, this is absolutely fine. Like, this scares me as an elf player, but it's not scary. So it's hitting on 3s, which becomes 4 because it's indirect. D6 plus 4 shots, strength 5, AP 0, 1 damage. Cool. And then it's got a penalty. It makes my infantry slower. This is good indirect. This is indirect that's good for the game. It's a tool that you spend probably more points than you should in terms of the damage. You chip away at some units behind cover so that you can interact if you're a mostly shooting army, and you punish me for having staging units. And it's also not going anywhere fast. Yeah, absolutely. I look at this and I go, this is what indirect should be. Bad. It should be bad. Indirect is bad for the game. And this is incredibly hypocritical, given that I've got a Night Spinner here, for anyone who can see that. But I'm sure that'll get nerfed in good time as well. I'm playing the good stuff, not because I want to, but because you need to. Servo turrets. They are slow. They're T6, 2-up save. OC2 is kind of interesting. And they can fire Overwatch on a 4+. That's cute. I like that, because it's 24 inches in the movement phase. Cool. I mean, the guns are kind of whatever. But, yeah. I'm sure the last Talon on the Hail Strike was strength 9 instead of strength 10. I'll go back and check that later on. But that might be the first time we've seen a weapon in the same army with different stats. Yeah, cool. Like, I don't think this is necessarily going to be good, but I like that you can put almost like defense turrets in your army. That's kind of cool. I like that. That's a lot of fun. Hunter, the anti-fly profile. You're hitting on 2s against monster vehicles. Nice. Cool. And it's got anti-fly 3+, devastating wounds heavy. Cool. So it's a 1-shot, and you're probably going to do D6 plus 2 mortal wounds to a flyer. That's fine. That's a not egregious use of the combo there. It's a good job it's not just anti-everything. So no real options to speak of. Hunter, the Storm Cannon, anti-fly 2+, but no devastating wounds. That's pretty interesting. You can target with the Overwatch strat just after an enemy unit that flies, moves. You can select up to 3. Oh, wow! Okay. Interesting. So the Stalker's like a real anti-infantry. Gelmora says Overwatch on 2s. I don't think it does Overwatch on 2s. I think you just Overwatch on 6s as normal. When you target with an Overwatch... Yeah, so you still hit on 2s. Sorry, you still hit on 6s, but you just get to shoot 3 additional units that can fly. That's cool. Like that's such like a meta pick. But if Drakari are like a huge thing, you wait until the fourth plane moves and then you go, cool. I'm just gonna spend 1 CP and I'm gonna dust some anti-infantry fire, and I'm probably not gonna kill anything, but I'm gonna do like 2 wounds to each one. That's quite cool. I like that. That's fun. I don't think it's competitively viable. Like this is not a good stat line. AP1 is 2 damage is not what it used to be. Gomar says another hunter for the Overwatch. Ooh. There is a conflict there between that and the Overwatch strat, and I don't care to work it out. I think as it stands, I'd say the stratagem takes precedence because it's the latest rule. But I have no basis for that. That's just kind of like a gut feel. That's my hot take on how that should work. Whirlwind, 72-inch range. It can still shoot the next target, the next table. It's not heavy. This is good. D6 plus 3 shots. Strength 3. Strength 8, AP2 to damage, hitting on 3s. This is good good indirect fire. It's just, you're forcing battle shock tests, so you're taking it more for the data sheet. You're maybe going to kill a couple of Marines. Like, what's the average there? 6.5 shots. Let's call it 3 hits. Call it 2. So you're probably killing 2 Marines there, and you're forcing a battle shock. Like, that's fine. I'm okay with you spending like 115 points for this model to sit in the backfield, screen out, do a little bit of jank like that. This is good indirect. This is what indirect should be like. Cool. Predator Destructor. We'll just go back. T10. We saw the Rhino. Was the Rhino T10 or T9? I feel like it was T9. So the fact that the main battle tank and the Whirlwind are also a little bit tougher is quite nice. OC3, that's cute. And the Predator Destructor. Its Destructor rule is when it makes a ranged attack that targets an infantry unit, improve the armor pen by 1. It's not bad. No, it's not bad at all. And then it's got a couple of heavy bolters and the Predator autocannon. So within 24, that's rapid fire too. That's interesting. So 6 shots, 9 AP1 becoming AP2, damage 3. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Thanks for confirming, Gaw'dam. The Rhino is 9 wounds there. Cool. That's neat. That's got like a very clearly defined niche. I really like that. AP2 against infantry. I don't know if we'll see it, but I like the rules that they've written there. That's just feels good. Annihilator, reroll damage roll of 1 against monstered vehicles. Cool. Again, got a niche. Makes you feel less bad about the fact that it's got double las cannons. So it actually has... I don't love that the big gun's only a single shot las cannon. I know it's twin linked, but I'd rather just have 2 shots there. 3 las cannon shots. You're rerolling 1s for your damage. It's fine. I like that less than the Destructor, even though it might end up being more useful, depending on how the meta goes. Lancer. Very similar stat line. 1 extra wound here. That's the only difference. Laser Destroyer. 2 shots hitting on 3s, but it's heavy, so if you stand still, it's 2s. Strength 14, AP4, D6 plus 3 damage. That's a good profile. And you can reroll 1 hit, wound, and damage roll. Oh boy. There now we're cooking with charcoal. This is a good profile because you've got 2 hits hitting on 2 attacks hitting on 3s. You're likely to only miss with one of those and use slow roll so you can CP the other if you need to really kill something. Then you're wounding probably on 3s. Hey, you're probably going to drop one of those. So you reroll there, and then the damage you probably get 1 okay one and 1 bad one. That's just a great rule to have on there. If this is pointed well, this is going to be definitely worth taking. Reaper. Sustained hits 2 against infantry. That is beefy. Oh no, here we go. This is a bad rule for anyone who hasn't picked that up yet. Devastating wounds and twin links. That should not be something that's ever written together. It's damage 1, so it's not the end of the world, but you should not be able to get mortal wounds on rerolls. Like, they need to fix this rule. It is not good. Everything else there is kind of just whatever. I really like that sustained 2 against infantry. Yeah, like realistically, you're only getting an extra 4 hits from it, but that's kind of cool. It basically turns 12 shots into 12 hits. That's cute. I like it. Um, Very nice there. And then the Valiant. This is the Melter one. +1 to hit against the closest eligible monster or vehicle. Okay. It's got a Las Talon, and it's got multi-melters. I'm a lot less enthused about this than I am the other two. This one kind of feels like it doesn't have much of a niche, but that's fine. Vindicator. So T11, that's quite nice. Obviously, it used to be T8 there. 11 wounds still. OC3, 9-inch move, which is a weird number. We've seen a lot of 10s, so I guess it's just slightly slower because of the siege shield. Demolisher cannon, D6 +3 shots. Not heavy, interestingly. Hitting on 3s, strength air, 14, AP3, D6 damage. I think that could be heavy. With the short range, it doesn't feel like it's going to lead to any degenerate play patterns, but that's okay. Going to be interesting to see the points to work out which chassis they're putting. Yeah, no, I agree. It'll be interesting because they always seem to get one of them sort of undercosted in comparison to the others. Siege Shield, making ranged attacks. It can target enemy units with engagement range. That's important because it's got Blast. Obviously, you can't shoot into combat with Blast, even though you can shoot out of combat now. As long as there's no other friendly units. In addition, when making ranged attacks, it doesn't suffer the penalty for being within engagement range. Okay, that's cool. So the idea being the siege shield kind of protects it from the blast back when it shoots its shells point blank. I'm really liking these thematic rules that they're putting on the data sheet. It's a lot of fun going through and seeing, like, it's very obvious how they've come to the conclusions and how they want to write rules. So they're definitely nailing it with the flavor. There have been a couple of boring ones, but this is fine. Land Raiders. Here we go. We've seen these. Oh, we've seen like chunks of them. Assault ramp. You're going to move, they're going to get out. It's going to be fucking great. These are beefy as well. You need genuinely dedicated anti-tank to deal with them. I'm not concerned. I'm just going to bring prisms, but it's designed to move forward. Yes, it is. Yes, it absolutely is. And if you think this one's designed to move forwards, let's just have a quick scroll down. Who can it transport? 12 infantry, Jump Pack Wolf and Gravis of Terminator 2 and Centurions of 3. Very nice. He is one that's designed to move forwards a little bit more. It's all the same. It's got just the rules you'd expect. 16, so you can put an extra. You can have 8 Terminators in there. That's why no heavy. Oh, sorry, you're talking about the Vindicator. Yeah, I think it'd be actually quite interesting to put heavy on it, so that if you move forwards and get into position, you are rewarded for being sort of aggressively positioned and hitting on 2s with the Demolisher cannon, but it doesn't really make a difference. Here we go. This is my favorite variant of the redeemers that they sell in shops. The Forge World ones, which are now dead. There are some cool ones there, but this is just my favorite one. So Flamestorm Cannon. This is D6 +3 shots, Strength 6, AP 2 damage. That's a good fucking flamer, and there's 2 of them. So this is the one that I'm most excited about. Ella Whistle says, really doing work on those marine vehicles. You're absolutely right. These are suddenly worth taking. Like, this is such a good stat line. I hope it's not too expensive, like they were for all of 8th and 9th edition. But yeah, this is really cool. I love these flamers. Really big fan of that. This is going to be something that's actually worth using Overwatch on, and you can push it forwards, get your Terminators out, charge it forwards as well, kill the things with the Terminators, and then you're in position to protect your Terminators as they come in, and you can, flame something that moves a little bit too close. Really big fan of that. And it can hold 14. Okay, that's interesting. From memory, it's always had the same capacity as the Crusader, so interesting to see it have slightly different. But 14 is still good. That's 7. So if you wanted, you could take 6 Terminators and HQ, or you could take still just 4. No, yeah, 4 Centurions if you wanted, but I don't know why you would. Repulsor. Oh god, that's a lot of words. Once per turn, if you're in your opponent's charge phase, after an enemy unit is selected targets for a charge before it makes its charge move, you can select one Adeptus Astartes unit that was not part of that charge and embark. Okay, cool. So you can use it to get in when someone charges you. Kind of the same as the strat that we've seen for Tau with the Devilfish. That's cute. That's interesting. Can it hold Terminators? It can. It can hold 6 Terminators. Maybe, maybe that's something you go for. What are the weapons like? So we've seen the Heavy Onslaught. The Hunter Slayer is an indirect one-shot missile. Interesting. Hitting on 2s, strength 14, AP3, D6 damage. I don't care about that. That's fine. Repulsive defensive array. Oh my god, yes, they've standardized the shots. Thank god. Instead of having 3 different sets of strength 4 shooting, it just has one which has 18 of them. So it has chaff shots out the arse, that's fine. And then it's still got heavy bolters, less cannons, yeah. Too many guns strapped to it, but yeah, that's kind of, that's interesting. I like this. I don't know if it's good, because I'd rather just put something in, move forwards and charge from a Land Raider. But there's potential there. I'm not really sure what I'd do with it. We'll see. I'm not expecting to see a lot of melee early on in the edition, so this might be something that kind of comes into its own later on, but we'll see. Then they've got the Executioner, which can still hold 6 models. That's not bad. And it's +1 to hit versus units below half strength. Interesting. So we saw the Ballestaris Dreadnought, which has +1 to hit versus stuff above half strength, and then this executes it below half strength. That's quite nice. So it can either have the Plasma Incinerator, which is pretty underwhelming. Plasma not going up in strength is pretty but I guess if we see lots of Terminators, it might be worth taking. But it does have instead the Laser Destroyer. Here we are. Yeah, that's not shabby. If you stand still, you're hitting on 2s with 2 shots, strength 16, AP4, D6 +4 damage. That's a solid little unit there. A lot of shots. It's got so many guns. It's got 10 just random chaff guns, and it's got heavy bolters everywhere. I don't like these 2 guns, the repulsors. They don't know what they want to be, but yeah, they're interesting at least. Do they have any firing decks on them? They don't on that one. No. Okay, so you can't shoot at them. Good to know. Rhinos, though, the Humble Rhino has been previewed. Firing deck 2. You can put 2 plasma guns out the top of it, and it heals in the command phase. Just nice, solid, hopefully cheap. I'd love to play Rhino Rush. That would be enough to get me back to playing Marines, or Razorbacks. I'd love to play Razorbacks. So this is... Its rule is, after it's shot, select one enemy unit, it scores 1 or more hits against, and then you get reroll wounds. Okay, that's really nice. So if you're looking at running little units of Stern Guard, or what else can it have? So it can only take infantry, it can't take Gravis, it can't take the big stuff. Hellblasters, maybe get Hellblasters out of it, and then laugh all the way to the bank. Hope that you overheat with your Hazardous with quite a few of them, and just get as many shots as possible out, and just really churn loads of high AP damage 2 shots in. That could be interesting, especially if we see Dark Angels get rules, and they have the strat for the +1 damage for plasma again. Okay, cool. Razorbacks. If they're cheap, they're good. If they're not, they're not. Impulsors. Still the same toughness. That's fine. Same movement. Firing deck 6 is cute. Gomar says Devastators for getting out. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know. I'm not super wowed by the Devastator datasheet, but we'll see. It really is points depending. Like, if Hellblasters are super cheap, they're going to be better than Devastators. If Devastators are cheap, then hey, just take a load of multi-melters. I'm not expecting multi-melters to be free at the start of the edition. So firing deck 6 is interesting for the Impulsor, and Orbital Comms Array, you regen CP on a 5+ within 6 inches. That's interesting. Or you can take the Shield Dome for a 5-up infun. Yeah, that's just both of those are good. Weapons, nothing of note here, just kind of what you'd expect. Units can disembark after its advance, but they can't move, and they can't declare a charge. That's fine. So you can still, move out. You can move further and shoot from there. That's interesting. I don't know that makes it worthwhile, but interesting there. We'll see. Again, it comes down to points. Drop pod, squishy as fuck, T7. Fair enough. And then it's got the standard drop pod rule, explodes for 1, Deathwing launcher. It's lost the rule where it shot at everything within range, but that doesn't really matter, to be fair. Cool. Land speed of storm, transport, fast, squishy, very squishy. More wounds than a normal one. That's weird. OC1. Can you rapid ingress pods? I don't see any reason not to. So you absolutely could come down in your opponent's turn 1. Made a normal move. This enemy's unit to declare a charge this turn. Okay, cool. So you can assault out of a land speed of storm. I don't really know why you would, but it's cute that it's there. Flyers. I'm not expecting flyers to be good this edition. I'm just going to very quickly go through. So the interceptor is the anti-fly one. That's good because it's not aircraft. If it was aircraft, it would be dog shit. Because it's units that fly, this becomes a meta pick. Because you've got a lot of stuff that'll be hitting on 2s. It doesn't really have the sort of weapons that I'd want to take into light flying units, but maybe that is something that becomes good if it's cheap. The gunship, this is quite good. So we're back to the 8th edition rules where you get +1 to hit against units that can't fly, and it's got, what's it got? Missile launcher, assault cannon, armored hull. Makes that noise. I don't think that's enough guns, honestly. It feels like you want more guns on this platform. Storm Raven. Slightly tankier, T10. That's not too shabby. And -1 damage. Okay. Craig is a big fan of Deathwatch, the guy I've been talking to before the podcast. He is probably looking for this to be on the Deathwatch flyer. But yeah, this is a gunship. It can hold 12 models. You can disembark afterwards. It doesn't have assault ramp, which is probably for the best because having that on a flyer seems pretty toxic. But okay, there's maybe something you can do with this because it's a transport, and it holds so many. 12 plus a dreadnought's really interesting. Hammerfall. I have seen people talking about this and saying that it's OP. Here's my hot take. You're wrong. People said that when it came out and it could shoot at everything that was nearby. Basically, the way it works is in range, it can shoot into melee. There's no penalty for falling back, even if they're battle shocked, if your opponents. This is benefits of cover. Okay, so it gives cover. That's kind of interesting. I don't think it's a big enough model to care about. And then it's just got the standard guns, which are kind of whatever, and it gets to shoot multiple times. Yeah, no, I'm not impressed by this. I know people have been saying that it looks solid, but it's underwhelming to me. So we've reached the end of the data sheets. We're going to have a quick whiz through all of the heroes. We're at 2:13, so we can tie this up in 2.5 hours, and I think we'll have done a good job there. So Captain Sicarius, it is I, Cato Sicarius. He's got a plasma pistol that doesn't overheat. He's got a long name blade with lethal hits. Hammerfall's a meme. It absolutely is a meme, and I don't understand why anyone thinks it's going to be genuinely good. Points, obviously. So he can lead from the front. Oh, he gives a unit scout and gives them range. Okay, so he's a really Alpha Strikes type character. What can you put in there? You can give him Stern Guard, probably just Stern Guard that you put him in with. And he can move as well. This is interesting. I genuinely think he might be good. He's got a lot of fun rules there, and he's got enough of a beat stick here that he can kind of pick on someone. Are you metting Cato Sicarius? Are you metting the Hammerfall bunker there, Galmaris? I'm assuming it's the Hammerfall bunker. Shoots 4 times in any turn for free. Yeah, okay, so we're actually talking about this. This is fine. So it's really hard to kill, but it's going to be hitting on 4s. That's fine. It's in range of the weapon, so it is 48 inches, Ila Wazzle. But like, I don't know. Like, none of these profiles feel worthwhile. Like, oh, you're metting Sicarius. Oh, no, I disagree. Like, being able to scout move something forwards and just not have to pay for a transport to get something into range might be good. Especially because if you know you're going first, you can scout move the, whatchamacallums forwards, the stern guard, get them to where you want them to be, and then they can stand still and get their heavy buff to their shooting or get in double tap range. It might not actually be good. I just saw that. I was like, oh, there's potential jank you can do here. I like him more than a normal character, although he doesn't get the free strat for 0 CP, so probably not, actually. Chaplain Cassius. He is a 4-up mortal wound flamer against infantry that ignores cover. That seems reasonable. Okay, he gives devastating wounds to all melee that he's with. Who can he go with? Not really anyone good there. I actually think he's worse than a Captain Gilmaris because I missed that he doesn't get the free strat for 0 CP. Fight on death on a 4+. So this guy has awesome rules, and then he's got bad squads that he can go with. Like, maybe the command squad moves the needle, but I don't think so. Like, that's a real shame, because this guy, like, dev wounds and fight on death, that's great for a melee unit. It's just, where's the fucking melee units in here? It's a bit disappointing. Chief Libby Tigerius. Okay, he's got to have a better. Huh. Okay, so he's got an 18-inch range smite, effectively. D6 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 6 AP2, 2 damage. Or you can be hazardous and almost kill yourself if you roll a 1. And just get 2d6 shots. But it's not even devastating wounds. That's... It feels like he needs more there. Like, no dev wounds is odd. It gives a 4-up feel no pain against psychic attacks and mortal wounds. Okay, so that's good. So you can take him for that purpose. And when he's leading a unit, -1 to hit. And you can target that unit with one of the following stratagems for 0 CP. Counteroffensive, fire, overwatch, go to ground, hurricane convention. Okay, so I'm immediately feeling like I want to put him in Stern Guard. Or Hellblasters. Can he go in those? Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, no, he can. There we go. Stern Guard. Neat. Okay, points depending. I feel like he's a decent leader for Stern Guard. They're a shooting unit. He's got some okay shooting. I'm not wowed by it. He's got some okay melee. I'm not wowed by it. He's got a good feel no pain, and he's got -1 to hit, and he makes the CP. Yeah, Ultra's pushed. Yeah, the problem is we haven't seen all the data sheets for the non-codex compliant units. So right now, because there's about 10 Ultramarine characters, Ultramarines are always going to look better. Unless one of them's cracked out of the mind. I know people have been saying that Tor Gaw'dam looks really good. But just through weight of numbers, it's probably going to be Ultramarines. It's the same with Blood Angels. Like, unless the Flesh Terror character is, like, insane, he can shoot twice with Stern Guard. Gilmore says he can shoot twice with Stern Guard. How... Oh, yeah, so if you wipe the squad, you can shoot twice. Yeah, that's something. Yeah, that's true. He's probably the only HQ that can go with him that's worth shooting twice with, so that's kind of neat. Yeah, okay. I do like him with Stern Guard. I just want to put everyone with Stern Guard. They're pretty good. So back to Ultras being pushed. Mine is Calgar. He comes with Victrix Honor Guard. Cool. So he's got a twin link pistol with 4 shots. 4 shots and twin links. That's interesting. It should be 2, surely. Very inconsistent, that Games Workshop. Then he's got the Gauntlets of Ultramar. That's a good profile, honestly. 6 attacks, strength 8, AP3, 3 damage, twin linked. Obviously, you're not trying to punch vehicles in the face, but that's solid. +1 CP at the start of the command phase, just really good. Feel no pain. Oh, just on him, so it's the bodyguard ability, okay. And shoot and charge. And he just straight up gives advance and charge. All right, sound. Oh, and you can put him with a squad. That's very interesting. So he's just got his own bodyguard that joins a squad. What do we put him in? Aggressors, that feels pretty decent. Or Blade Guard. It's got to be one of those two. Probably Blade Guard. Farm some CP. Okay. Interesting. Really points dependent there, but this is a solid profile, and you're getting 10 attacks from the power swords as well. This like really, you could even put him in just a shooting unit as bodyguard. I don't really know why you would, but like this is a good amount of melee to shit out to punish anyone that charges you. Sergeant Cronus, my favorite Ultramarine character. He goes in a vehicle. He makes them ballistic skill 2, and you reroll 1 wound. That's just good. And when he disembarks, he has lone operative. So that's nice. Galmara says Blade Guard. Yeah, Blade Guard kind of feel like if anyone can join Blade Guard, it kind of feels like you should join them. Although it is sad that they don't have a 2-up save anymore. He has a servo arm. He's too snooty to punch you though. He can hit you with the servo arm in his backpack, but he doesn't have a melee weapon. That is quite funny. He can join Land Raiders, Hunters, Stalkers, Vindicators, Whirlwinds, Predators. So he can't join any of the Primaris units. So I guess you probably put him in... You could put him in a Whirlwind. That'd be funny. I don't think it'd be worthwhile, but it would be funny. What other buff does he give? A reroll 1 wound. Maybe that is worth, if you're really doubling down on the non-line of sight. Otherwise, probably just a Land Raider. Get the most value for longest. Scout Sergeant Telion. He's got a precision sniper rifle. It's not shabby. It's 2 shots, strength 4, AP2, 3 damage. 2 hours in, and you only got as far as the lieutenant's PJ. How dare you say such things to me? He's a scout sergeant. That's not a lieutenant at all. See, there's no lieutenant keyword down there. Anyway, so he gives you +1 to your OC and +1 to your hit roll for the unit. Nice enough indicator. Yeah, true. Italian giving +1 to hit for the scouts is really nice. Suddenly you're hitting on 2s even if you don't stand still. And you can also give them a buff until the end of the phase. Lethal hits, precision, change hitch. That's really nice. I like that. And he can join the scouts. Yeah, so even if you put him in normal scouts, you could be sniping out characters up close. Or more realistically, I think, you put him in a sniper squad and you give them sustained hits or lethal hits, depending on how tough the character is. And you just go, you thought your character was safe? No, 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 no. I think so far, he's the character I've liked the most that we've seen out of the special faction characters. Tyrannic War Veterans. AP 0 on everything, anti-Tyranid 4+ on everything, devastating wounds against Tyranids, either dog shit or one of the best units of your army. Unless Tyranids are a meta threat, you don't take them. That's fine, we can skip that. Uriel Ventress, he has a fairly standard shooting array. Sword of Ideas, sustained hits 1, strength 6, AP2, 2 damage, 6 attacks there. That's not bad. When the model is leading a unit, you can target the unit with a stratagem even if it's already been used, and when it's battle shocked. Okay, so you can use strats on them when battle shocked and if the strat's been used, but you do have to pay CP for it, so that's a nice little trade-off. I'm glad they didn't just make him a better captain, so that you just take one. And then you can give a unit Deep Strike. Okay, so I don't know the fluff behind this guy, but he must be some sort of master strategist. I do have one in a box behind me somewhere, so I should maybe get that going if I'm going to play some Space Marines. And he can join Assault Incessors, Stern Guard. I guess you put him in Stern Guard, just as is, and you Deep Strike something else. You take him if you want something to Deep Strike, I guess that's the reason for him. Rabute Gutterman, we've seen him already. I'm not going to go over him. We're just going to go back to Supreme Strategist. This rule here is just nutty because you can take a captain, you can take him. Neat, you've got 3 Overwatches a turn, 3 Heroic Interventions a turn, whatever it is that you want to triple down on. He's the master of the fleet. Uriel Ventress. Okay, cool. That makes sense. Deep striking someone. He's the master of the fleet. Let's have a look. Oh, the name. God, I've become so numb to the fluff. I just absorb the rules so efficiently that I don't even read the name of the stratagem, the name of the data sheet ability. I just immediately go straight to the text. Lysander, the coolest Imperial Fist character. Let's see if he's any good. So he's got 5 attacks with devastating wounds because it's a Thunder Hammer, hitting on 2, strength 10, AP3, 3 damage. Okay, that's fine. He has the sort of like quasi-transhuman for his squad, which is if a squad is going to wound you on a 4 or better, subtract 1 from the wound roll. That's a really good rule. It also doesn't make Terminators too oppressive, but that just makes them quite hard to shift. Like if you've got Strength 5 or Strength 6 volume of fire, knocking that down to wounding on 4s or 5s is really valuable. Once per phase, get a chill pin fun. It's funny. I guess that's quite nice against precision, to be honest. But yeah, okay. I quite like that. If he's cheap, he would be a pick to lead a squad. No, he wouldn't, because you can't fucking use the free strats. God damn it. Oh well, he's cute anyway. Gaw'dam. He has... Right, his stats seem super underwhelming, so I assume the reason people have been talking about him is his rules. Signum Array, he gives them... Ignores covering lethal hits. Okay. I think I'd have preferred sustained hits, given the flavour for Imperial Fists, but I guess maybe you take him in squads with heavy bolters already, and they didn't want you to just double up there. That's cool. And then when he makes an attack that targets a monster vehicle or fortification unit, improves the strength, armor penetration, or damage by 2. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Who can he join? Aggressors, Eradicators, Heavy Intercessors. So you've got a melee squad, you've got a shooting squad, and you've got a squad that is not worth putting with. Why are people saying he's so good? Aggressors, Eradicators. You get the rolls from the squad you lead, right? So I guess he gets the reroll wounds. Okay, he gets the reroll hit and wound from the. Yeah, okay, he gets the reroll hits and wounds if he's in Eradicators. That's good. I don't know if it's as good as people are making out to be, because he's a purely melee character that's going in a shooting unit. I don't particularly love that. But it's a fun combination. Pedro Cantor, we're almost there. My initial 5th edition Space Marine army was painted like these. So if I do them again, I think I'm going Crimson Fists. Stat line. Very, very solid there. Dawn's Arrow, 2 shots, rapid fire 2, so 4 shots. It's a Storm Bolter, basically. Sustained hits 1, strength 5, AP 1, 2 damage. It's not bad. Fist of Retribution, 5 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 8, AP 3, 3 damage. Solid. Once per battle, you can give that squad +1 attacks in melee. Cool. So that's a, Oath of Rin, Last Stand, that makes sense. For the last, and if the unit has taken any damage, it's +1 to hit, and if it's below half strength, +1 to wound. Okay, cool. Who can he go with? Can he go with the Blade Guard? This would be really good if you could put him in a melee unit. Shame you can't. Maybe command squads are good, and it's the same as whatever the Chaplain Cassius was called. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's just going to be... I think it's just going to suck. Oh, well, that's a shame. He's got good rules, though. Maybe they change the keywords he can join later on down the line. Ironfather Ferros. He's pretty standard grav, 2-up save. He has... So his heavy bolter, unlike the normal Tech Marine, his gets sustained hits too. So he's obviously stolen some of the sustained hits from the normal Tech Marine. Needs to have a word about that. And then he can make 6 attacks at strength 7, AP 2, 2 damage. And 2 attacks at strength 8, AP 2, 3 damage. Cool, that's not bad. He has... Oh, so he gives a 5-up feel no pain to the squad he's in. That's very nice. He gets Lone Operative because he's a Tech Marine. And he gets the Buffer Tech Marine squad. Okay. I really like this ability here. 5-up feel no pain. But you have to be Iron Hands to get that, which means you have to be not Ultramarines. That might not be worthwhile. He'd go in Aggressors or Eradicators. I think this might be enough to make Aggressors a brawler unit. I don't know if it's worth going down the line when you can just go Terminators, but interesting. Shrike. Precision pistol that does little. I guess it could kill a 3 or 4 wound model if you get lucky. Raven's Talons, precision, so he can snipe out characters. That's kind of cute. 7 attacks, twin linked because they're lightning claws. Strength 5, AP 2 damage. That's nice. Deep strike, leader, lone operative, stealth. All of those are decent keywords. Can't be targeted unless he's within 12. Isn't that just what lone operative does? Oh no, you don't have to be nearby anyone to get that bonus. Okay. And if this unit is not within engagement range, you can remove it and place it into strat reserves at the end of your opponent's turn. Okay, that's cute. And he can go with assault squads or van vets. So immediately he's just not very good because we've seen both of those data sheets and they were kind of underwhelming. Agrax Agatone. He's got a handheld flamer pistol that's strength 4, AP 1 damage. That's not a bad fucking pistol. Solid, and then he's got 5 attacks, strength 10, AP 2 3 damage. I'm liking these character Thunderhammers that are doing flat 3 damage, even though he doesn't have devastating wounds. He gives reroll wounds in melee. Okay. And he halves objective control, but only if he's in melee, so you've got to make sure he is in. And he can join... if only he could join an actual melee squad. That'd be great. I don't know, his rules are really good, but he just can't do anything with them. It's disappointing. Oh god, we must be almost there. Vulcan Hestan. Standard. He's got a flamer, which is d6 plus 3, strength 6, AP 1 damage. Fine. He's got a Feel No Pain. That's nice. He's a really nice model. I really like Vulcan Hestan. He's I'm not a huge Salamanders fan. They've never hugely appealed to me, but he really does. He's got the Spirit Vulcan, just 6 attacks, hitting on to 622. That's fine. It's an okay profile. One enemy unit within 24 invisible in the shooting phase. Reroll the wound with Torrent of Melter. That's very good. So when you lot have been chirping about Melter for Salamanders or Flamer for Salamanders, this is where it makes sense. Cool, I like that. And then Seeker of Lock. Okay, hello. So you pick one objective marker. Doesn't say you keep it secret, but when he's in range, he has OC 10, a Field of Pain 4+, and a Leadership of 5. Cool. That is fluffy, because obviously they're looking for the Lost Relics to bring them back together, so their erstwhile Primarch can return. That's nice. And he can join Assault, Command, Infernus, and Tactical Squads. Gravis Primaris. Yeah, I think if he became Gravis, he'd feel... It would be thematically right, wouldn't it? The squads he can join are kind of whatever. I don't feel so bad about putting him in an Infernus squad here. Just because he's got a Flamer already. It synergizes. He doesn't have to be in the squad that you want to be good. I don't necessarily think that's going to be great, because I feel like T4 3-up saves just go melt. Note that the Salamanders leaders can go into Infernus even if they're firstborn. Go into Infernus. Sorry, I'm not quite sure what you mean by go into Infernus. Oh, Infernus squads, I'm with you. That is interesting. Because obviously he is Primaris, and Vulcan is firstborn, but he can go into Infernus. That is interesting. Good spot there. And then the last data sheet. Yes, the last data sheet, thank God. Kasara Khan, he's a Space Marine. He has a pistol. He has a devastating wounds precision weapon, 6 attacks, strength 5, AP 2 damage. There feels like there's a lot of weapons that are strength 5 or 6, AP 2 damage. He has, for the Khan, ranged weapons and his unit have assault, and melee weapons have lance. That's not bad. And when he destroys an enemy character model, you gain a CP. It's specifically model, though. It's not unit. Okay. That's fine. Again, he doesn't have the good captain rule, so it kind of feels like, why would I ever take him? But Salt Incessors, and Cernguard. Yeah, like, he just doesn't do anything in any of those squads. This feels like they could have done with another 6 months to write these rules. Like, some of the stuff they got is really good and synergizes really well. And some of the stuff they have feels like it was written and then they went, oh, are we limiting the squads that they can go in? And then they've limited the squads that they can go in, and it's a little bit disappointing. It's very early in the edition. They've got plenty of time to get it right, and they did say that they're willing to change data sheets. But I don't know, it just feels a bit disappointing when you've got your captains and they're going in specifically shooting squads when they are a melee character with a melee buff ability. Assault intercessors don't count. Like, that's not a good squad to put them in. But we have done 2 hours 35, and I'm very pleased with that. I thought this was going to drag on for 4 hours. Thank you very much to everyone who stayed all the way through. I saw Aloizzle, I saw Galmaris, and I saw Chris pretty much throughout. I'm not sure if Chris is still here, but thanks to everyone who tuned in. It's been great. There's going to be another one of these on Monday. I'm having the weekend off, and then we're going to be talking about something that's coming up that might be Space Marine rules for the stuff that we haven't seen so far. Thanks for